One of the first enemies you'll die to in Fear and Hunger is the Guard. Here's how to win against them. First turn, attack his cleaver arm. Each turn, he attacks the cleaver and cuts off one of your arms. You only have 2 of those and you want to keep them, so cut off his arm first. Every character's starting weapon defeats it in 1 hit, even poor Wimpy Enki. Second turn, Guard. Another hit of his instantly kills you on the second turn and every third turn after that. Third turn, and straight for his bald-headed yogurt slinger. It's got a 1 in 3 chance of dealing minor damage each turn, so as soon as it's gone, you've won. Now his only attack is his grab, and as long as you guard on turns 5, 8, 11, 14, and so forth, you either carve up his torso or slit his ankles then chop off his head. Follow these steps and the worst outcome is getting hit by the stinger twice at about 10% off, which will cost you 50 body tops. Best case scenario, you kill him and you don't take any damage. Dark Priests are an enemy that normally fight you 2-on-1. On certain seeds, a third one will spawn and fight you 1-on-1. They have incredibly valuable drops, so it's always worth it to fight them. In the solo fight, attack the Lantern Arm and destroy it. Each turn, they have a 1 in 3 chance of attacking you with it, and that attack can set you on fire. From there, attack the torso. On the third turn, and every other turn after that, they will attempt to summon something that will kill you instantly. The attack is clearly telegraphed by the message Dark Priest is chanting. You must interrupt their chant with the top command or with Enki's counter magic, or you will die next turn. The strategy isn't much different for the duo fight. Attack the Lantern Arm of the one on the left. If the one on the right hit you and set you on fire, run from the fight to put yourself out. Then immediately go back into it. Cut off the second one's Lantern Arm, then focus on the left one's torso. Interrupt his chant when you need to. Only the left one can chant to kill you, so once he's dead and the right one doesn't have an arm, there's nothing left in the fight that can hurt you. Important note, these guys can drop a Priest's Lantern. This item is a weak fire attack with 100% accuracy. In a pinch, you can chuck it at someone's head to usually kill them instantly. The Ghoul is a non-threatening enemy that costs most people a green herb or 2 to win against, so it might seem like a strange enemy to make a guide for. However, when you approach them correctly, they are quite literally the least dangerous thing in the entire game and should cost 0 resources. First off, talk to him and select Prepare to Die. He'll stop attacking you for the rest of the fight. Attack him until he dies. That's it. If you're playing as the Dark Priest Enki, you can just cast counter magic instead to kill him instantly. The Jagged Jaws are the first enemy you can encounter in Fear and Hunger, and if you met them as your first enemy, you're probably dead. If you have a stick, on your first turn, use the talk command to throw it. This will distract the dogs and prevent them from acting for the rest of combat, minus their instant kill attack. Even if you threw the stick, at the end of your first turn, one of the Jagged Jaws will start barking. This is your warning it's about to use the instant kill. So guard on turns 2, 5, 8, and so on. The head of a Jagged Jaw has about 50% evasion, but under 100 hit points. So if you're solo, it's usually best to aim for the heads instead of spending 2 or 3 turns dealing 400 damage to the body. But it comes down to your party's damage output. If 400 damage is trivial, then go for the body. Attacking the legs is a complete waste of time and doesn't even slow them down on the overworld. If you fail the instant death coin flip, you have a chance to run away on the overworld to avoid the instant death. But if the dog catches up with you, you'll die.
Although they come in 4 types, they're all basically the same. The only difference between the 3 types of sturdy doors is that you can poison iron bars that have a rounded top. This doesn't actually help you because, unlike gods, doors are too powerful to die to status effects. All doors work the same way. You have to defeat them within a single turn. If you fail to defeat the door, it will escape the battle, giving it a chance to fully recover. Since they only have 1 part, there's only 2 strategies for defeating doors. The first one is the easier one. Use links, it kills doors. The second one is a bit trickier. You have to deal 300 damage to a wooden door, or 800 damage to the other kinds, in a single turn. Doors are immune to critical hits and leech damage, so if you're planning on whipping out the katana to cut it open with a critical hit, it won't happen. Doors laugh at your delusions of folded 10 million times superior Nippon steel. It's easy to check if you have enough damage to defeat a door in 1 turn. The attack damage formula is attack multiplied by 4 minus 20 for your average damage. Damage swings 10% in either direction, so if you multiply by 1.1, you can tell if you'll be able to break a door on the maximum damage roll. Using this formula, and knowing that the result needs to be 300, we can see that to break a wooden door solo, you need a minimum attack of 74 and the highest damage roll. This means Axe Dragonvalder, with its 76 attack, is the only character that can defeat a wooden door with his starting flip. Spells don't use an attack formula, they simply deal a flat market damage. So, Combustion, Black Orb, Hurting, and Chains of Torment can all break down a wooden door in 1 hit. If you need to know where to find these spells, check my Ultimate Hexing Guide. When facing a metal door or iron bars, you need to deal 800 damage in a single hit, so for magic, that means only Chains of Torment can open doors. For melee, this means an attack of 187 and a maximum damage roll. There's only a few ways to get an attack that high, and most of them require the Crowballer Soul, so check my video for how to defeat it. Most characters need the Crowballer Soul and either the Circle Spear or Cursed Bone Shears. Marriage is strong enough to do it with just a Cursed Claymore and the Crowballer Soul, while Abominable Marriage can do it with just the Circle Spear. Of course, more characters makes hitting this damage threshold easier. Getting multiple maximum value damage rolls in a row is unlikely, so to break it down with average rolls, you'll need 2 characters with an average attack value around 105, 3 characters with an average attack value of around 72, or 4 characters with an average attack value around 25. You can also just lockpick your way through those doors or find a key. However, be especially cautious of the door in Prison Configuration A. Configuration A is the one where the switch to lower the elevator is in the top right instead of the middle. In this configuration, the door in the northernmost cell, second from the left, the one on the left corner, is still on. If you open it with the 3x key, you lose a red vial. If you need this lucky point, either open the door without a red vial in your inventory, break it down, or lockpick it.
Out enemies in Fear and Hunger, cave gnomes are by far the least rewarding to fight. Just avoid them. If you stand still, they can't even start the fight. You have to start the fight by walking into them. If you really want to fight them, bring yellow vials from the chained-up cave mother in the level 4 caverns. First turn, use the top to offer a yellow vial, and the gnomes will get instantly defeated. If you don't have yellow vials, make sure to have a second party member. Use the talk skill instead of the QA with a tilde option to stun them while the second character takes them out. They only have 100 hit points, so almost everything you can do in one hit. If you're solo and don't have yellow vial, just run. It's not worth it. A new one spawns every turn, up to a maximum of 5, so you'll walk away from the fight missing a bunch of hit points and bleeding and infected, and you'll have nothing to show for it. Maneba are one of the earliest enemies you can encounter in Fear and Hunger, and one of the simplest of fights. They have 3 sets of tentacles that each have a separate chance to attack you for low damage, and a head that has a chance to inject you for low damage, but gives stomach parasites if it hits. Unless you have the escape plan skill, you cannot run from this fight. So just attack the head. It has around 250 hit points, so 1 or 2 hits with your starting equipment will take it out. Since they can make between 0 and 4 attacks per round, the fights against them are very swingy. They're best avoided until you have 2 characters with good weapons, just in case one of them misses the head. If you get injected, do not use worm juice to cure yourself unless you also have a white vial. Worm juice poisons you, and taking constant poison damage is a lot more dangerous than just needing to eat twice as often.
That's so cute. What can I use my dice here?
The Black Witch is an offshore and mostly pointless boss fight in level 2 base game, Leo Green. His dagger hit cuts for about 30 damage and inflicts poison and might infect your armored leg. His open hand casts Black Orb, which hits 3 times for nearly 30 damage each, meaning anyone who enters this fight without full hit points could potentially die from one attack. Both arms have 20 hit points, which really doesn't cut either one off. Cut the more dangerous open hand first, then cut the ritual dagger hand,
Like they both
then cut off his head.
all their health is taken down at the same time.
If you have a second party member, you can usually win this fight without taking any
Back
damage.
off of the Negro dudes. I want Warlock dudes, mother trucker.
Skeletons are a unique encounter you can find anywhere you can use necromancy to recruit a skeleton. If you attempt to raise them and fail, they get so repulsed by your sheer incompetence that they attempt to put you out of your misery. It's a mercy thing, really. For the most part, you'll only fight these things as Enki. Enki has a skill called Counter Magic, which you absolutely
We don't
should
have
not
many Warlock
use.
dudes, so that doesn't.
Yes, you brought the skeleton. The arm uses Scratch to cause bleeding and infection, and the leg just does a bunch of damage with skeleton kick.
Dude.
So you shouldn't attack either of these. instead of taking out your anger on this innocent being, try talking to the skeleton instead. If he refuses to settle down, well, maybe you were in the wrong and you deserve to die. I know the skeleton might seem unreasonable, but try to understand his perspective. What you should not do is attack his arm, then attack his torso, which only has 175 hit points. That is a horrible thing to do to anyone, because killing is wrong. Don't kill people, and especially not skeletons.
It's only 5% evasion, that's insane.
The Iron Shakespeare is an optional boss fight found in the level 3 basement. He's a very unique encounter as he defies the common sense of these dungeons. At first, his arms just deal blunt damage and break bones. There's no way to prevent or cure broken bones, so you need to prevent him from attacking you. After one turn, the arms start to power up one at a time and deal massive fire damage and set you on fire instead of breaking bones. Common sense would be to attack his arms, but his arms have a massive 1,200 hit points each. So if you can kill one of his arms, you can just attack his torso instead. Similarly, common sense plan B would be to attack his legs or head. But his legs have 160 hit points each, and his head has a massive 500 making his head the single most durable humanoid head in the entire dungeon. His torso has only 575 hit points, which bizarrely makes it the most vulnerable target in the fight. And that's your whole strategy. To show up to the fight, you deal 600 damage in one round to his torso, or 300 damage across 2 rounds, and accept that you're going to get some bones broken. You don't get much for killing him. If you absorb his soul, it reduces physical damage by 30%, and he also has prison keys, but you can get that off a much less dangerous prison guard instead. Non-hostile and found in the basement crazy. He's covered in elaborate sidesteps with a dozen different endings, but more importantly, he carries a strong weapon and good helmet that he can loot off his corpse. His only attacking part is his claymore, which has a massive 700 HP. The claymore uses vertical sweep A, which cuts an arm, vertical sweep B, which cuts a leg, and horizontal sweep, which is the same as the Assassin Spectre.
Like you have the warlocks
Low
and the
chance to
paladins
cut
as
an
the
arm, or
tanks. You have
infect an
the
arm, or infect a leg.
is the
Since it
support
hits the
class
whole party,
DPS,
worst
and you
case
have the Vikings as
scenario is that he
DPS, and then
gives
you have the
2
clerics
infections to and
as the
takes an
healer.
arm from everyone. The 2 vertical
And
sweeps
the
hit for
warlocks will
45
like
and
teleport all the
horizontal sweep
clerics
hits
and
for
the
30.
people on top of each other
Because
so
you
that
can
they
cut
all
both
heal
your
each other
arms
and
and your
the
legs,
healing
the
stacks and
only
just
safe way to
infinitely
fight
heal on
him,
top of each other.
regardless of party composition and skills, is the Salmon Snake Soul. Or a party that can deal 700 damage to his arms before they attack. His head has 200 HP, so
Just try to
aiming
get
for a lucky headshot
all
often won't
the
work.
correct
His
dudes.
torso has 1200 HP, so it's often
And then,
faster to go
also
for the
just what items you
legs than
get
the
and what
head.
order, right?
However, his claymore is the earliest guaranteed strong weapon, so it's worth killing him early, and each character has their own way to do that without the Salmon Snake Soul. I'd still recommend saving at the crow bed before fighting him, in case something goes wrong. With the Mercenary, you can actually use On Guard during the conversation. This allows you to easily get a surprise round. If you have a throwing dart, you can hit his torso with it and guard until he dies of poison. If you have an explosive vial, you can throw it to take out both his legs, then take his head off for round 2. If you use lockpicking to free the little girl, you can take out one leg, she can take out the other, and then you can take out the head. Keep in mind that her unupgraded dagger might not deal enough damage to defeat a leg in one hit. It's much safer to have her attack with anything else. With the knight, you can use defense stance. It will make his attacks miss more often, and even if they hit, as long as the shield icon is up, you won't lose a limb. Theoretically, you could also use fast stance for this by guarding on the first turn to keep your limbs and only attack on the extra turn, but he'll probably cut off a limb during the turn you set up fast attack, making it not worth it. With the Dark Priest, you can use Necromancy. You and your ghoul will probably lose some limbs, but you can easily form a marriage afterwards to get them back, which also gives you the ability to use the claymore you murdered him for. With the Outlander, you can go into the menu, pick Return to Title, and then pick a better character. Timothy is an NPC found on the first floor torture chambers. He's involved in a couple of long and involved side quests, one of which has a dozen different endings, but I'm not going to exhaustively go through that pile of spaghetti code and explain it. If you approach the place he confronts you from the left, he'll always be hostile and you'll be forced to kill him. In combat, his only part that can hurt you is the knife, so target it first, then attack him until he dies. If you talk to Buckman, then head back to Seymour, you'll get 40 silver coins. If you approach the place he confronts you from the right, use the talk command. You can befriend him and sell out Buckman. He'll give you 2 light blue vials. Later on in Present Mahabra, if you head right from the city square, you can find a knight being dragged by a Lord of the Flies. If you intervene to save her, then bring her back to Timothy, he'll tell you how to get the secret penance armor. The penance armor has the best damage reduction in the game and prevents limb loss, head removal, and stuns, but you can never take it off and it causes bleeding. Once you know the secret of how to get it, you can also steal the key off him and get it early. The human Hydra is a unique encounter on the first floor inner hall. When you first speak with it, you have 2 real options. You can sacrifice a child to it, or you can start a fight against it. If you sacrifice a child to it, you're rewarded by no longer having a child in your party. That's it. He's a good way to clear out party slots if you already run out of ritual circles. If you choose to attack him, you enter a really unique fight against an enemy that can only defend himself with insults. To defeat him, attack it until it dies. You don't get anything for this. You can't even put his soul in a soul stone. It's mostly a waste of time. The Ballista Prison Guard is a relatively rare spawn that occasionally shows up with a level 3 prison. First, attack their leg. They always spend the first turn of the fight loading their ballista, which means you aren't in any danger at the start. Second turn, run, then immediately go back into the fight. This means they have to spend another turn loading their weapon, cut their other leg, then attack their head. If you've raised the girl by now and gotten her a weapon, instead of running, can have both characters target the legs first turn, and then both characters target the head turn 2.
It's only one bar.
Nosferatu is a new god and unable boss fight and a potential immortal party member found in the level 2 blood pit. The way the fight is meant to go, he summons a beast from the darkness that kills you at the end of the 4th turn. However, the wizard cannot cast spells if you hit him with a rock. The rock has a 20% chance to miss and a 30% chance to fail to stun him. Even if it does hit, the rock only has 60% stun him. If you have 4 party members all throw rocks, you have 96% odds of stunning him if you hit. Nosferatu has 9,000 hit points. The Darkness has 10,000 hit points, 100% physical evasion, and 95% magical evasion. To actually damage the Darkness, you will need to bring a Purple Vial. Purple Vials ignore evasion and resistance to poison.
Should've got bards until
Anything works on Nosferatu, but poison and burning deal 900 damage each round to him, so bringing those will
I
be
think this is a
helpful.
really hard one.
Obviously, you'll want to bring 99 rocks for party members and as much fast attack or white angel as you can. There's at least 2 places in the game where you can find infinite rocks. In the mines and the other rocks. You just have to pick like one of the time. Turn 1, let everyone throw rocks at Nosferatu. Turn 2, have the main character use a purple vial on the darkness while everyone else throws rocks.
Let's just get 6 bards. Oh god. 16 paladin 30.
Turn 3, have the main character put status effects on Nosferatu while everyone else Once they stop taking damage from poison, it's because both of them are at 1 HP. Unfortunately, they're both immune to the knockout status, which means they'll stay at 1 HP no matter what you do. If the game engine wasn't cheating for them, you could throw a Murky Vial and take out both. The only way to properly kill Nosferatu is to recruit him. To recruit him, you need the Cube of Depths and an Eclipse Talisman. If you need to know where to get an Eclipse Talisman, check my video on Yellow Mages. You can find the Cube of Depths in the northernmost hut in the Cave Dweller village on the 6th floor. On the first turn, talk to him. Your choices here don't actually matter. On the 3rd turn, he'll start talking to you. When you feel like there's something to enter in the depth, then turn in your invisible. He'll join your party. From here, you need to get ending D. I think the ending D will point you in the right direction, but it won't be a complete guide from your current state of the world. Right before your face to the water, now try to slow and
Yes, sir. And just made it a strong resource there.
Isaiah is a friendly map salesman and NPC in the dungeons of Fear and Hunger. He'll show up on the 1st floor entrance once you've triggered Crow Mauler. Generally, if you've gotten this far, you should have at least 1 party member, so dealing with him should be trivial. His legs and head have 20 hit points, and he doesn't do anything on the 1st round, so you can cut both legs and attack his head for a free win.
Oh, vampires.
If you don't have a party member, make sure to bring Arm Guards or the Salmon Snake Soul.
I don't have
Your strategy will still be basically the same. Cut both legs and then the head. You'll just get hit twice by his blade for high damage before you cut his head off.
20% chance to block protect aimed at newer dudes.
You can also throw an explosive vial or murky vial to cut off both of his legs on the first turn.
I think warlocks are really good because the damage is taken over time.
If you have escape plan or
What
are
the damage
feeling
they take is
lucky,
reduced
run on
slowly
the
and then
second
you
turn
get
of
one that
combat, then fight him
splits
again.
there after it.
Due to shoddy programming, he won't be able to pull out his arm blade on the refight, which turns him into a complete joke. On the second turn of combat and every 3 turns afterwards, he'll use a unique coin flip attack called Plague Touch. It's unique because it doesn't do anything. Isaiah drops a ton of incredibly important items, including the best helmet in the game and some key items for a side quest to get the best
Maybe
spell in the
smell
game,
insults
so it's
'cause it's so good,
always
dude.
worth your time to murder him.
We're gonna show it better. Because if you can get heaps of cleric drum. Bearing shooting could be insane.
A lot of people call Crow Mauler the
When you get about
symbol
20 or
of
30
fear and hunger,
clerics.
and I'd agree. Just like the rest of the game, he's an impossible terror you can only flee from until you know the right strategy, at which point he's a complete pushover. First off, you will need Isaiah's Iron Mask, and you'll need to equip it on the main character. See the previous video to learn how to get it. Second off, you'll need 1 red
Good
vial.
start. We need warlock.
Third off, you'll need some way to inflict the burning, poison, or bleeding status effect. You can
Viking.
substitute that with high damage weapons like the Eastern Sword if you
Paladin.
want, but those are hard to get. Crowmauler has 3 parts to hurt you. His open hand has a block of crows which pecks out your eyes and makes the game pitch black forever. It renders the game nearly unplayable and is functionally an instant kill if you're hit by it. If you put on the Iron Mask, you're immune to blindness. Second off, he has his head. It has a 50% chance of using Peck each turn. Peck instantly kills whoever it hits. Thankfully, he will never peck the main character unless the main character is alone. If you destroy his empty hand, his head will start casting Flock of Crows. Third off, he has his Maul, which he uses every turn. It deals high damage, always causes broken bones, and has a good chance to infect your arms and legs. There's no way to prevent or cure broken bones, and the status effect reduces maximum hit points, so you're basically just guaranteed to lose some maximum HP if you fight him. Turn 1, or action 1 if you have multiple party members, use the red vial on his head to blind him. This prevents Peck from hitting. Turn 2, or action 2, hit his torso with a status effect. Burn him with Pyromancy Trick, Combustion, or a Priest Lantern. Poison him with Throwing Darts or a Black Witch Soul attack. Bleed him with Moonless's Bite or Chains of Torment. Doesn't matter. Just get something on there. Every damage over time deals 500 damage to his torso at the end of the turn, and the torso only has 1,250 health. If you can deal 250 damage to his torso and survive for 2 rounds, he's
No,
guaranteed to
Paladin's
die.
here, Viking.
Once you know his weakness to status effects and bring the right tools, he is so easy, even the girl can solo him. If you don't have status effects, just bring a full party and beat on his torso with at least half-decent weapons. 1250 is a lot of hit points, but it's something you can't dish out with a full party. Once he's dead, you get the Crow Emblem key, which lets you get the 3rd best sword in the game, Miasma. You can also put his soul in a soul stone for a massive damage boost to whoever equips it.
Jesus.
Oh, and this makes the bed in the level 3 basement completely safe. You can use it to save whatever you want with no risks. Lizardmen are a rare spawn in the Blood Pit, the Floor 6 mines, and a guaranteed spawn past the Salmon Snake Pool. They have some of the best drops in the game, so it's almost always worth your time to kill every single one you come across. I generally recommend hitting them with a
Spartan.
bear trap or arrows or something because they're a pain to fight directly. If you do have to fight them directly, bring a white vial or two. Keep in mind, their head has a 1 in 3 chance of spitting poison for low damage and the poison status. There's nothing you can really do about that, which is why I save my bear traps for these. First off, their sword arm can cut off an arm or a leg or do nothing, so kill that arm first. After the first turn, the shield arm will use the shield skill, which means that if you attack any part of the lizardman for the entire rest of the battle, it will counterattack for high damage. You'll even get counterattacked after removing the shield. Doesn't matter if you use magic or items, you'll still get countered. The only sane response at that point is to run. In Fight 2, attack one leg and run again. Fight 3, attack the last leg and then run again.
Stacks indefinitely until the end of the battle. I guess that's not
Fight 4, hit the head.
damage to the end of the battle.
The shield has
This
high
affects
HP, so if you try to
weapon.
cut it off at the start,
So,
he'll
give
start
it fire.
using Tail Whip instead, so I don't recommend trying to target those. It just gives him more chances to poison them. These guys have a 1 in 3 chance of dropping the Crude Sword as the second best mundane
Just
weapon.
blocks
They can also drop a Ring of Wraiths, which gives infinite healing. If you have multiple party members, you don't need to run between every attack. Only after he uses shield. It'll save you some time. Killing mages are a guaranteed spawn in the level 5 mines and the level 6 cave dweller village. They're one of the prime examples that sometimes they're more afraid of you than you are of them. When you approach the first one, do so slowly. Instead of attacking, he will stand up to display his bright yellow warning coloration. If you move cautiously and keep your distance, he will leave you alone. If you get too close, he'll begin his ritual dance to start attacking you on the overworld. This is really dangerous because the script is buggier than a cockroach bugging out in a dune buggy. It's supposed to blow off your limbs one at a time while you're standing around on the overworld and stop when you get far enough away, but sometimes it counts times in the menu, so if you paused your game to look up this video, you might die from limb loss as soon as you unpause. On top of that, occasionally the script just keeps going even if you run away and leave the room, so whenever you're inside that room, you'll just start losing limbs. Sometimes it only causes bleeding instead of blowing limbs off. For the second yellow mage, you can sneak down behind it and run past. However, about half the times you try that, the script will completely break and kill you, so it's safer to fight this one. The yellow mage has 2 tricks up his sleeves. His empty hand has a 50% chance to cast Locust Swarm, which deals minor damage and can stun you for 2 rounds. Heavy helmets can protect from the stun. His torso casts Hurting, but only if both legs are intact. If you see him begin his ritual dance, he'll cast Hurting next round. Common thought is that he cuts his tail and then cuts his leg. I disagree. Your first priority is to cut a leg because that's the only part that can really hurt you. The legs are the only real threat. Once the leg is cut his empty hand. Now that he's dismembered and unable to fight back, it's a perfect time to strike up a conversation. On turn 3, ask him which god he serves, then answer Grogoroth. Turn 4, talk to him again and ask if he can teach about Grogoroth. He'll give you an Eclipse Talisman, an accessory that boosts magic defense. And something you need to recruit Enki and Nasra. If you have Steel, you can steal one from him before talking to him and get an extra one. It's not the greatest accessory in the world, but it's better than a sharp stick in the eye. From there, just kill him. Doesn't matter how. If you set his robe on fire, you get instant access to his head, but he's so frail it doesn't really matter much at all.
This would be more realistic. We take Vikings. Vikings!
The Assassin Spectre is an optional boss fight that will harass you almost anywhere in the dungeon if you have an Eastern Sword in your inventory, and will attack you the first time you pick up his sword in the thicket. Because he's a ghost, he's immune to conventional damage. You either need a cursed weapon or magic. Thankfully, if you're fighting him, you have one. The Eastern Sword is a cursed weapon. Each turn, he'll attack twice for low damage. On the second turn and every third turn afterwards, he'll use Horizontal Sweep, an attack that hits your whole
really good
party
too.
for decent damage, has a 30% chance to infect an arm or a leg, and a 20% chance to cut off an arm. If you see the Spectre tilts his sword sideways, it means he will use it next turn. Every character he hits can lose an arm and get infected. So if you're really unlucky, he'll cut off 4 arms in one blink. You have 1,000 hit points and only 1 body part, so the fight is simply dealing damage. The Eastern Sword you're carrying has a 40% crit rate and can usually kill him in 1 crit. Even if you don't score a crit, you can kill him in 4 hits at worst and 3 on average. This means you only get hit by Horizontal Sweep once and have an 80% chance of walking away with both arms. If you bring Arm Guards or the Salmon Snake Soul, he's basically harmless if you fight him at full HP and brought decent armor. This makes the fight devastatingly simple. Pick up the Eastern Sword and then run away from the first fight to equip it. The next time you run into him, attack him until he dies.
More if you, and then if you have paladins taking the damage too.
Enemy as potential recruit, level 4 cavern that's trivial to those who recruit against the throughout the dungeon, you can find rotten meat at various tables. It's useless to eat it, but it's great against certain enemies. If you have at least 1 rotten meat or 1 stick in your inventory, this fight is free. First, pick the talk command that offer rotten meat or throw stick that attack Moonless until she dies. If you want to recruit Moonless, pick the talk command twice and offer 2 rotten meats.
Oh, this might be a big one. The Canadian geese are pretty.
Night Lurches are a pretty awful enemy that you're better off avoiding. There's no good way to fight them without spending resources or having a large party or abusing skills. Both of their claws inflict bleeding on any hit and critical injury 70% of the time.
Damn.
Critical injury means that the next time something moves your HP, whether it's healing or taking damage, you'll get set to 1 hit point. He also has a bite attack, which has 70% odds to infect either your arm or your leg. He performs all of these attacks every single turn. If he's pollinated, he'll also make a pollen attack for a nice 4 attacks per round. He also has a coin flip attack he uses on turns 2, 5, 8, etc. This attack won't kill you, but it does give you the butthurt status effect. You can probably already see why they like these things. If you really need to kill it, the best thing you could possibly do is run and re-fight until you get a special message. Each time you fight it, there's a 1 in 4 chance you'll get a chance to ambush it. This is the only time it's worth fighting.
Yeah,
First turn, target the horn. Second turn, cut the head.
Yeah, get some more practice. This should be fine,
If you have multiple coin letters, you can use the talk command to offer rotten meat.
This will prevent it from attacking that round. So the other party member can cut off its horn, and then you can cut off its head. There's a load of rotten meat around the dungeon in various locations. This won't work if it's pollinated and has a flower sticking out of its head.
Look into please. Don't think we get a quick step up them.
The butterfly is an enemy that you can find in the first floor backyard. He's native to 2 different classes, and if you find him at the request of the top president, simply walk up to him and attack him until he dies. If you kill him here, you can absorb his soul to get a generic lesser soul. However, if you cut the organ in the Golden Temple of Domination, then backtrack all the way back to him from Mahabra, you'll find the butterfly soul. Butterfly soul is a lot worse than it sounds. About half of enemy attacks always hit the coronation, and the butterfly soul gives you 50% evasion on the other half of the attack. This means you always have 50% odds to dodge Throwballer's tech, but his maul will always hit. It's pretty worthless.
Just need fucking tears. You're new.
Many of you might wonder why you'd want to kill Kahara instead of recruit him, but there's actually 2 really good reasons. Having an endless soul in your inventory lets you access Kahara's skill tree on the Hexen table, and lets you skip the much more difficult Skin Granny fight. Before fighting Kahara, you need one of 2 things: a way to prevent arm loss, such as arm guards or the Salmon Snake Soul, or the ability to deal 1,190 damage in 1 turn. Each turn, his sword arm will make 2 attacks, each of which has a 95% chance of causing bleed and removing an arm. He can't remove both arms of a single character in 1 round, but he can remove 2 arms from 2 different characters. You'd think the first thing to do would be to take out this arm, since it only has 28 points. But this is Kahara, and Kahara is overpowered. He's also 80% evasion, the same as most pegs. If you attack either of his arms, you're probably just wasting damage. You just have to ignore his arms and take the hits. His empty hand will either steal items from you or use a light blue vial to heal all of his parts for 300 hit points. This is why you need to be able to deal 1190 to his torso in 1 turn, because he can heal some of the most damage if you don't pull it off. The Hara's torso is almost exactly as tough as Throwballer, and the Hara can heal him. When the Hara steals items from you, he does it in this order. First he'll steal your blue vials, then your silver coins, then your explosive vials, then your bottle of whiskey, then your white vials. Because his open hand also has an 80% evasion and heals his tanky torso, the best route to victory is to just cut both legs and target his head. This is why you need a way to protect your arm. You can cancel hits and cancel blue vials he heals, and cut his legs and then his head. There's no basic tricks you can do against him. You just have to rip your teeth and pinch your way through.
Actually, Spanners might actually be a good addition to the block. I don't know how many types of dudes you can have, but I guess if you can have 6, the best would be Viking, Spartan.
Many of you might wonder why you'd want to kill Enki instead of recruit him, but there's actually 2 really good reasons. Having an enlightened soul in your inventory lets you access Enki's skill tree on the Hexen table, and it lets you skip the much more difficult Valtiel the Enlightened fight. Despite both his complexity in his attacks and his bugginess, Enki's a remarkably straightforward fight. His right arm, which is on your right, is turning 2/3 of the time as needle one the last thing. His right arm is on your left, past either Locust Swarm or Needleworm. At the end of turn 2, his head will summon a skeleton with necromancy. This skeleton is buggy, and even if you defeat its torso or head, the rest of the skeleton will hang around. It attacks with Scratch from its arm, Skeleton Kick from its leg, and Tackle from its torso every round. The skeleton dies when Enki does, so attacking it is just a waste of time. Understand attacking hurting on it. It's the most dangerous thing the first time far. causing the skeleton to eat you to death, making it the second most dangerous thing in the fight.
You would think it would be.
Third turn, attack
What?
his now
What?
vulnerable head. Don't even bother attacking the skeleton. Even if you kill the torso, the other limbs hang around and keep attacking. Instead of wasting 3 turns breaking each part, you're better off just killing Enki. Many of you might wonder why you want to kill the but there's actually one good reason. Having a domination soul in your inventory lets you access her skills. Unlike the other 3 main characters, killing her doesn't let you skip any boss fights. Even if it did, you'd skip Francois, the easiest boss in the entire game. D'Ars is remarkably dangerous to fight solo, and it's not even worth attempting it without the Salmon Snake Soul or defense stance. Her arms have 80% evasion and 300 HP, so you're stuck taking damage from both of them for the entire fight. There's just no good way to get rid of either of them.
Like holy symbols.
Her sword arm does
Really
one
good
of
too.
2 things. First, it can attack twice for 35 damage with a 95% chance to cut arms and cause bleeding. She can't remove both arms of a single character in one round, but she can remove 2 arms to different characters. Second, she can perform leg sweeps, which has a 95% chance to remove one character's leg and cause bleeding. Her shield arm performs the unique shield bash skill, which deals minor damage and causes the target to take 50% more damage for the next 5 turns. Her torso has a massive 1,610 hit points, making her tankier than some gods. So your best bet is to either go directly for the head or go for her legs first. Her head has only 50% evasion, so if you're going solo, it's usually better to gamble 3 attacks on her head instead of going for 2 leg cuts. With a 3-second total time to hit that arm, it's just as or more quickly if you hit her head, which will save you some damage. However, she'll still make a full set of attacks after you hit her head. She's ridiculously resilient like that. There's a second way to kill her safely, but it requires a second party member. First, pick the talk skill and beg for forgiveness. Then, choose to keep fighting. Have your second party member target one of her legs. On turn 2, pick the talk skill again and again. This motion footing gives them a few rounds in a row, so you need to stop the fight when you fight. Then, start fighting with her again. Once again, beg for forgiveness while the other party member cuts her other leg. Then beg for forgiveness and end the fight. Fight her a 3rd time, beg for forgiveness, and then target her head. Many of you might wonder why you'd want to kill Ragnvalder instead of recruit him, but there's actually 2 good reasons. Having a tormented soul in your inventory lets you access Ragnvalder's skill tree on the Hexen. Sorry. No, his skills suck so bad you'd be stronger if you didn't learn it, so there's actually only one reason, it's because it lets you skip the much more dangerous tormented one fight. Ragnvalder is an oddly simple fight. Each turn he fires his bow, and every turn after the first he'll use marksmanship, a coin flip attack that kills you
Then we got this
instantly.
one.
If you have if you're solo, have done enough damage to his arms to disable them, you could have just killed him with a headshot. It's a gamble if you fight him solo, but you get 2 shots at his head at 50% odds before he starts going for your head at 50% odds, so it's not...
Rainflower Ragnvalder and Marriage Enki are 2 encounters that are exclusive to the harder difficulties, whose fights were even featured in an update trailer for the game. They only spawn once you enter the heart of the square without your change. Rainflower Ragnvalder is found on the 4th floor of the city, Marriage Enki is found on the 2nd floor of the building. To defeat them, walk in. Miro accidentally removed the data for the fight, so you win on the frame the fight starts. You can absorb their souls with soul stones to get a free tormented soul and free enlightened soul, which lets you
I don't even have the Warlock's Taunt and Teleport.
Cave Mother is a 2-part optional boss in the 4th floor caverns. If you get too close to her nest, she'll try to attack you, unless you take the bridge to the right of her nest. There's only a 50% chance there. Before fighting her, you want to make sure to bring one of 3 things. The Salmon Snake Sword, 2 red vials and some other ones like her, or the ability to deal 375 damage in a single round. The torso technically has 4 attacks, 3 of which share the same name, One Tooth Bite. The 3 copies of One Tooth Bite either always sever an arm, always sever a leg, or just deal damage. She also has a 1 in 4 chance of tilting her head instead of attacking. If her breasts are intact, then at the ends of turn 1 and every other turn afterwards, a cave gnome will show up. Using a red vial on her torso to blind her cancels out One Tooth Bite. From there, you can just alternate between swatting down cave gnomes and attacking her torso until she dies. If you don't have a red vial, take Salmon Snake Soul and just tank the One Tooth Bites, or if you have a strong weapon, or 2 party members with decent weapons, you can just kill her torso on the first round. After you kill her the first time, she'll attack you again with less health. She only has 325 HP on her torso this time. She'll try to One Tooth Bite you with her head, but now a cave gnome will show up every turn except every 4th turn. So do what you did the first turn. Spend precious time from the multi-hit attack like or aim that at her and kill her. Once she's finally dead, you can collect her soul to get an accessory that boosts your damage by 10% and collect a bunch of gnome eggs from her foot. The gnome eggs can help out a lot with the Salmon Snake fight.
I need the Warlock teleport. Like teleports everything on top of him. Like when an enemy's about to die, like teleports them on top of him. There could be clerics on top of him, so he'd like basically teleports.
If you've watched my previous videos, you've heard me suggest
Like
the
more
Salmon
dudes
Snake
and money,
Soul for a fight.
You don't
That
want to spread
accessory is the single best accessory in the entire game. Might even be the single best piece of equipment in the whole game. During battle, it prevents bleeding, critical injury, burning, leg infections, arm loss, and leg loss. It basically single-handedly deals with every major run ender for solo characters. That alone would make it one of the best pieces of gear in the game. But there's more than that. Outside of battle, you can equip it to cure infections and bleeding. It's already an incredible accessory, but it also has some good green heart and cloth fragment. Unlike my previous guides, I cannot provide a simple action guide for Salmon Snake. There is no overwhelmingly dominant and completely consistent strategy to trivialize his boss, that though means extremely quick. There's several things you can do that work reliably, but you'll have to pick from these strategies based on your target and equipment. The Salmon Snake has two methods of hurting: his arm and his tongue. After the first turn, his tongue will slowly start to emerge. It takes 2 turns to fully extend, and when it's fully extended, it will use an instant kill coin flip attack. You can guard it, but whenever the tongue takes damage, it retreats inside the mouth. If you can deal 500 damage to it in one round while it's fully inside the mouth, you can kill it. It heals to full each time it extends at all, though. It's not a huge threat, it's mostly a Each arm has a 6% chance of using most of If you have 7 take a blow, don't bring a great helmet or the dark bassinet or the penance armor. It's pretty easy for him to stun lock you into oblivion. You can also use extra attack from fast attack or white angel to recover from stun in fewer rounds. The arms have a hefty 800 points. His head has 12 points and will headbutt every time he throws on the tongue. It's less dangerous than that, but deals more damage on average because he uses it every round. His torso has 1250 hit points. Strategy 1. Tank and poison. The easiest way to deal with Salmon Snake is poison and tank. If you have a way to cause poison to his armor, you can trigger poison in his body, or specifically his body, not his head, and then get smashed with it. And the special attack kills his body in 3 turns, so worst case scenario, you get smashed 6 times and then nothing. If you play those nice and pick most of the defenses and character damage, your pretty here is enough to keep you alive. Worst case scenario, you take a little under 100 damage and around 45 on average. You could hit by having multiple party members, but without war cry or pheromones, there's no guarantee he won't just maul the main character because of bad luck, so I can't recommend it. Oh yeah, the head takes 50% more damage when the body is poisoned, but that barely matters when the body dies so quickly to poison. Strategy 2. Dense gnome eggs. The second easiest way to deal with the Salmon Snake is to kill the cave mother and stun lock him for 6 turns by using gnome eggs. See my video if you use the talk command and select offer a gnome, Salmon Snake won't attack you that way. Or the next time. Do this every turn and this will stun you long enough, even if your only other party member is the girl with the hair back, you can kill him before he takes his EVA. Just remember that after round 6, you should start attacking too. Smart gnome eggs. If you don't have control of his party member, it won't help you well. Focus on his eyes and his tongue. In the case of movement, these are the only 2 things you'll attack until both of them are gone. With a party like that, you might be better off using gnome eggs every 3rd turn. Why every 3rd turn? Because this mechanic is bugged and doesn't work right. Feeding him a gnome egg stuns him for 2 rounds. But if you feed him another gnome egg on the 2nd round, it won't stun him again. He'll just attack normally and do an egg. The best thing you can do there is feed an egg, then attack. He'll get 1 set of attacks off every 3 turns. If you use this, focus on destroying his eye first. Strategy 4. Eye cut. This is the intended way to fight him, and I really recommend bringing a plate helmet or a way to get double turn, or several party members. 40% of danger. If he is Canadian, it changes to be easier to not. Instead of each eye attacking after God and preventing that better, you can only try to attack him quickly by it. While the healers focus on attacking the head, smashing the tongue back into Salmon Snake's mouth. This is pretty good to bring on long distance. So focus on mauling the eye, then put bleed on the tongue. So you won't actually have to worry about the tongue for the rest of the fight. Bleed will keep it in the mouth. She'll only attack the tongue though, and won't stop until a different part has less hit points than the tongue. Strategy 5. It we ball! I wouldn't seriously recommend this strategy, but I've relied on it in a few of my hard mode runs. This is a strategy that stays with you Dragon Ball Z. If you bring the Purified Instinct and you answer the head, you get a crit with it. you're angry, so you fear a gnome egg and toss a poison dart in your guard. Maybe you don't have the purified Eastern sword, but you have other high damage weapons. So you can attempt strategy 5 and hope neither party member gets stuck. Regardless of how you approach this, killing the salmon snake nets you the single best soul in the game, a bunch of salmon snake meat if you have the skinning knife, a helmet with damage reduction as good as the plate helmet or iron mask, and the ability to wear that helmet to loot the cube of depths from the cave dweller village without making any enemies.
Oh shit, I thought the fucking thing was easy.
The Old Knight is a single person, but two different enemies you can find on the 5th floor mine. Sometimes 3 or 4 enemies, depending on how glitchy the game feels like being. You can find the Night Spectre wandering around. You're not supposed to fight him, and you don't gain anything if you do. The body can be found lying down somewhere else. If you defeat the body, the ghost goes away and you gain access to Nosramus' lair. The body is basically just an action economy check. At the end of turn 2, the ghost form will join the battle and start attacking, so you need to kill all 7 parts of the Old Knight armor in 2 turns. The body's right arm is the only one that makes any attacks. It uses vertical sweep A, which cuts an arm, vertical sweep B, which cuts a leg, and horizontal sweep, which is a low chance to cut an arm or infect a leg, but hits the whole party. Worst case scenario is that he gives 2 infections to and takes an arm from everyone.
Let's see what we have to do.
The 2 vertical sweeps hit for 45 and horizontal sweep hits for 30. The ghost form shares all these attacks. All of the body parts only have 20 HP, so there's 2 easy ways to handle this fight. Option 1 is to have a large enough party to make 7 attacks. Since Loomis attacks twice, she's great to bring along to this fight. If you're going to go with this option, make sure to attack the right arm first. It's the only one that attacks you. Option 2 is to bring AoE attacks. A single explosive vial will instantly win the fight if it doesn't miss any parts. Mercy vials never miss, so bringing 1 mercy vial is enough to instantly win the fight. Option 3 is kinda stupid and I don't recommend it. But you can use the menu run, not the skill run, to run from the fight if the Ghost Knight shows up.
Only clerics like that.
I have a video about how running works, and it's worth watching to understand how to run from this fight easily. If you kill 1 or 2 parts then run, you can repeat the fight without the Ghost Knight giving you creep. The Night Spectre is its own fight, and I do not recommend actually fighting it. It's immune to all direct damage except otherworldly damage and has 10,000 hit points. If you really want to kill it, bring the Salmon Snake Soul or the White Angel Soul, some healing, poison darts, and a fire spell. Fire Mouth won't do it directly, but both the fire spells and the poison spells will do 1,000 damage per turn. If you're using the White Angel Soul, guard on the main turn and only act on the extra turn to keep your limbs on. It won't add a status effect, so you'll need to land the last hit by hand.
What up, dude? I don't even care.
Guards are the single most dangerous enemy in the entire game, and I'd rather fight 2 Crow Maulers than 1 in each guard. There's only 2 in the game, 1 in the 7th floor near Lagarde, and 1 in either the prisons, the basements, or the torture chamber. The trick to fighting them is don't. It's not worth it. It's never worth it. No, not even then. You can't even use bear traps or arrows on the one on the 7th floor, and half the time they don't work in the prisons. Just run. If you got trapped in a corner and have to fight one, bring arm protection like arm guards or the Salmon Snake Soul, and have over 100 attack power. Their sword arm uses hack every turn to cut off an arm. Their mace uses Morningstar every turn, which causes a fracture, and almost always infects either an arm or a leg. They use Mad Rush with the Mace Hand on the same pattern as normal guards, on turns 2, 5, 8, etc. Both of these arms have 350 hit points. If you have over 100 attack power, you can sever the arms even on a low damage roll. You'll need to make judgment calls based on how many party members you have and how protected their arms are. If you're more worried about broken bones than arm loss, then go for the mace. If you've got party members without arm protection, go for the sword arm. Afterwards, go for the other arms. Once that's dealt with, beat on his torso until he dies. He'll make a tackle attack each turn and occasionally stinger thrust, and he gets one set of attacks off after he dies, so brace yourself to take a lot of damage even when things go well. Don't bother going for a headshot. If you're panicking and praying for a lucky headshot as an easy way out, it won't work. These jerks have 400 hit points on their head. Since their torso has a little under 600, it's always faster to kill his torso instead of going for both legs than the head. And the sky-high evasion of their head means going straight for it is just a complete waste of time. Mumblers are a nuisance you can find all over the thicket. They're not actually dangerous, they're just annoying. It's better to avoid them. Both of their arms use Shivering Touch, which drains 10 mind. Their head has a 1 in 3 chance of using Soul Binding, which reduces your mind to 50 if you have more than 50 mind. Unless you're playing as Marriage, at which point it reduces your maximum mind to 50 forever. If you attack their head, the head will explode to deal 10 damage to someone and poison them. This is the only way they deal HP damage. The head has no boosted evasion, so if you're willing to take the damage and poison, this is the fastest way to kill them. The most important thing to remember when fighting these things is to never finish a battle at 0 mind. If you finish the fight at 0, you'll instantly gain Panophobia. Use alcohol during the battle to recover your mind. If you have a Sorcerer's Stone, you don't have to worry about Panophobia at all. You have to make a choice when fighting these things. Do you want to lose mind, or do you want to get poisoned? If you're okay with losing mind, beat on their torso until they die. If you're okay with getting poisoned, hit their head once. Auto battlers tend to aim for the head, but Moonless and Skeletons are immune to poison, so bringing those to the fight isn't necessarily a bad idea. The Greater Mumbler is an extremely dangerous enemy that's better off avoided. One can be found in the bottom of the thicket and the other in the ancient library. Similar to Elite Guards, it's never worth fighting them. The arm with the bell uses Empty Echo to deal 50 mind damage. The arm with the Green Lantern uses Green Flame, which hits for 60 otherworldly damage. They both do this every turn and have 400 hit points. The head has a 1 in 3 chance to use Soul Binding, which reduces your mind to 50 if you have more than 50 mind, or permanently locks your maximum mind to 50 if you're Marriage or Nasra. Their torso has 780 hit points, so if you can deal 800 damage in a single round, they're safe to fight. If you can't deal that much damage in a single round, the best thing you can do is go straight for the head. The head has 350 hit points, but no boosted evasion, so it's much easier to kill. It will explode and poison someone at random once it's destroyed, but it's only 10 damage and the poison status is way safer. Cave Dweller technically refers to 4 different enemies in the Cave Dweller village, but 3 of them are all fought the same. The male, female, and merchant Cave Dweller all only have 1 limb to attack with, the one holding the rock.
It uses Rock Smash every turn, which has a 70% chance to stun you for 2 turns. So if you're alone, they can pretty easily stun lock you to death. Round 1, cut their Rock Hand. They're now totally helpless. Round 2, aim straight for the naughty bits. This knocks them off balance. Round 3, take off their head. The Cave Dweller Warriors have a spear and are much worse to fight. Their arms have 45% evasion, but still go down in one hit. They attack with the Ritual Spear every turn, which has a high chance to cause poison and a good chance to cause bleeding. He'll counterattack with a tackle when you destroy his arms or destroy his torso, so it's hard to fight these things cleanly. If you can deal 350 damage in a single turn, you can kill his torso in 1 round. If it takes 2 turns and you're feeling lucky, you can go for the arms that have 45% evasion and get tackled a few times or stabbed a few times if you miss. Or go straight for his head, which has 55% evasion but prevents him from attacking at all. Personally, I recommend going for the torso. It's really easy to deal 350 damage in a single turn. Side note, the Cave Dweller Merchant has only 35% evasion on her head. It's still safer to go for the arm, but I guess that hat slows her down a lot.
Miner Spectres are an annoying gimmick enemy in the 6th floor mines. It's really easy to get trapped in a corner by one and then die because you forgot to bring something to kill it. They only have 1 attack and they use it every turn. Ruin. Ruin deals 20 damage and ages the character. If the character gets absorbed 3 times, they die of a heart attack. You get the messages: the Shriek absorbs life out of the character the first time they get ruined, the character is getting ruined the second time, and the character died of a heart attack the 3rd time. Ruin changes the character portrait, but otherwise has no effect on the character. They only have 1 body part and has 450 hit points. The problem is that they're immune to every type of direct damage except otherworldly. This means that to damage them, you will need to bring the spell Black Orb, the spell Hurting, the sword Blue Sin, the Eastern Sword, not the purified version, the normal Eastern Sword, or any cursed weapon except the Cursed Axe and Cursed Scimitar. Due to an oversight, the Cursed Axe and Cursed Scimitar do not deal otherworldly damage. With one of these damage sources, attack it until it dies. That's the only tactic. I personally recommend Black Orb because it will kill the ghost in 1 shot if all 3 hits land.
The Bloody Man is an enemy found in the Tomb of the Gods in the present. He's essentially a more annoying ghoul. Just like a ghoul, his arms use Scratch every turn to cause bleeding, arm infections, and leg infections. Just like a ghoul, his head has a 2/3 chance of using Nasty Bite, which has a 70% chance to either infect an arm or a leg, but never both. Just like a ghoul, they make a full round of attacks after death. There's 2 things that make them different from a ghoul. Their torso has slightly more HP, and you cannot disable them in 1 turn by talking to them. There's only 2 ways to defeat them before they make an attack. You either need to hit 3 times and destroy their arms and their head, or you need to cast counter magic to instantly disable them. If those aren't possible, bring the Salmon Snake Soul. You don't need to equip it during the fight. Equipping the Salmon Snake Soul on whoever got hit after the fight will cure bleeding and infection. To kill them, pick the talk command and ask their origin. They'll make a full round of attacks. Then tell them they're the product of necromancy. There's no point in attacking their torso. They'll make the same number of attacks whether you kill them in 2 turns with Talk no Jutsu or in 1 turn by stabbing them.
The Body Snatcher is an enemy with unique status effects found in the Tomb of the Gods and the Ancient City. They're pretty risky to fight, but worth it because they drop the second best light armor and a throwing dart. The more party members you have, the safer it is to fight them. If you're going to fight them with 2 characters, bring a White Vial. If you're solo, also bring the Salmon Snake Soul. They have 4 arms, 3 of which make an attack every turn. Right arm 1 uses a paralysis dart, which paralyzes whoever it hits. Paralysis wears off at the end of battle, but whoever's hit by it won't get a chance to do anything for the rest of the fight. There's no way to cure or prevent this. Right arm 2 uses Critical Slash. Critical Slash always gives bleeding, has a 70% chance of causing critical injury, and a 50% chance of giving you an arm infection. The Salmon Snake Soul counters all 3 of those. Left arm 2 uses Toxic Dart, which causes the Toxic status effect. Toxic is the same as poison, but deals twice as much damage and works on skeletons for whatever reason. It's cured with a White Vial. All of these attacks hit automatically regardless of evasion or blindness. The first thing you need to do is get rid of the Paralysis Dart. If you're alone, it's an instant kill attack. Second thing you want to get rid of is the knife because it deals the most damage. The third thing you want to get rid of is left arm 2 to stop toxic darts. Leave the last arm intact. If you cut off his empty arm, he'll start tackling you. But if you leave it on, he'll do nothing and become completely harmless. From here, cure toxic and bleeding if you have the cures. Then attack his torso until he dies. Embryos are weird little babies with knives that attack in groups. The embryo has 900 HP and uses either critical stab or regular stab each turn. Both attacks always cause bleeding and have a 50% chance to infect an arm. Regular stab deals 25 slashing, critical stab deals 35 slashing, and has a 70% chance to cause critical injury. Both attacks ignore evasion. At the end of each turn, whichever embryos are alive cry for help, which has a 50% chance of adding another one to the fight. Only 3 can show up in a single fight. Just like the elite guards, the trick to fighting these things is don't bother. If your party can deal 900 damage to the first embryo before the end of its first turn, you can fight them safely, but still shouldn't. If you can't, avoid them or run. If you're cornered by one, equip the Salmon Snake Soul to counter critical state and bring loads of healing. These ankle biters are here to waste your time and resources, just avoid them.
The Uterus is a relatively non-threatening enemy found in past Mahabharata. They're slow-moving, easy to avoid, and don't drop anything. Their arms and head have 20 hit points, but destroying the head doesn't do anything. Their left and right arm are 50-50 on doing nothing or using Rusty Claw. Rusty Claw deals 10 slashing damage, has a 25% chance to cause bleeding, and a 40% chance to infect an arm and a leg, and ignores evasion. With bad luck, a single hit can cause bleeding and 2 infections. Their torso has a massive 1,600 hit points. You need to destroy it to end the fight. Their main gimmick is the embryo. It will drop from their stomach, slowly crawl towards you, and start attacking on turn 4. Aside from calling for help, they work exactly like embryos from my video on them, but you should never have to fight them here. Because these things can infect and bleed you, I highly recommend bringing the Salmon Snake Soul. You don't need it equipped for the fight, but you'll want to equip it to anyone that got hit after the fight. You also need to be able to deal at least 400 damage per round with your party. On the first turn, attack one of the arms. You have a 50% chance to get hit by rusty nails afterward, which is why you should bring the Salmon Snake Soul or at least a green herb and cloth fragment. On the second turn, attack the other arm. The uterus is now harmless. If you can deal at least 800 damage per round, attack the torso until it dies. If you can't, on the third turn and fourth turn if necessary, run. From now on, whenever you fight the uterus, the embryo will already be out and on the ground, but at the end of the first turn, the uterus will suck the embryo back in and it will start crawling towards you again. If you can deal at least 400 damage per round, you'll get attacked by the embryo once on the first turn and be able to defeat the uterus before it attacks you a second time. It's not really worth the time to kill these things. They don't have any drops and you can't even use a soul stone on them. However, it's often worth it to steal from them if you have the option. You will either steal a white vial which cures poison, or you'll steal an orange vial. Orange vials are really good in the late game as they add 50% more damage to a character for 5 turns. With how many late game enemies and bosses boil down to hit them until they die, this can really speed up a bunch of fights that might otherwise be pretty dangerous. Harvestmen are weird spider things you can find wandering around past Mahabra. They're not worth fighting and usually aren't too dangerous, but you can't run from them and have to fight them if you touch them. They only have one attack. At the end of turn 2 and every third turn afterwards, they attempt an instant kill coin flip. If you're facing the Harvestman in the Temple District, to the left of the bug-eyed figurine and the right of the library, you cannot guard the instant kill, and you will have to call it correctly each time. You can guard the other Harvestman, though. This one's just unique. The Harvestman head has 20 hit points, and the body has 560 hit points. The head has sky-high evasion, 85% physical evasion, and 60% magical. If you have an item that ignores evasion, like a murky vial or a priest's lantern, you can just hurl it to destroy the head. If you have a head hunting spell like Black Orb, just aim it at the torso. It's safer. Otherwise, just beat on the torso until it dies and block the grab if you can. Auto battlers are useless here. Moonless won't ever target the torso, and the others only have a 1 in 16 chance of targeting it. The Lord of the Flies is an enemy you can find wandering around present Mahabra and is more or less the reason I recommend traveling through Mahabra in the past instead. They deal a lot of damage and require the On Guard skill to fight perfectly safely. If you start a fight with them without using On Guard, there's a 1 in 3 chance you'll get a coin flip before the fight even starts. If you fail the coin flip, the main character takes 10 damage. Their arms have 400 HP and use Hairy Palm for 30 non-elemental damage each turn. Since it's non-elemental, armor doesn't help. Hairy Palm ignores evasion but has a 10% chance to miss. Their arms go for a coin flip instant kill on the, sing it with me now, second turn at every third turn after. Why didn't you sing it with me, dude? What the heck? You get a warning which arm is about to do it. When you see the message, Arm of the Beast twitches, it means it's going to use that arm to perform the coin flip next turn instead of using Hairy Palm. Their head has the standard 20 HP and a 1 in 4 chance of using Bad Breath, which deals 20 non-elemental damage and has a 95% chance to poison you. Their torso has 700 HP and a 1 in 3 chance of attracting flies at the end of each round. This does 5 non-elemental damage, ignores evasion, and has a 10% chance to miss. If you set the torso on fire, the head becomes vulnerable. Like prison guards, these guys get a full round of attacks off after you kill them. If you have party members, on the first turn, talk to him, select Please Don't, then select Please I Beg of You. His torso can still attract flies and he can still do his coin flip, but this stops the rest of his attacks for that turn. You can't stun him 2 turns in a row, but you can stun him every other turn with this. If your other party members can deal at least 350 damage, or can deal fire damage, have them attack the torso. On the second turn, you should be able to get everyone to work together and finish off the torso or cut off his head, taking only 1 Hairy Palm attack. If your damage is low and you don't have fire, talk on the first turn while your party cuts legs, guard on the second turn while your party cuts the other leg, then talk again on the third turn while your party cuts the head. If you're solo, this gets a lot messier and isn't worth it. Since all his attacks ignore armor and he gets a round of attacks off before dying, if you get incredibly unlucky and take all possible attacks on the first turn and they roll high on damage, you could lose even if you kill him on turn 1. If you kill him on the second turn, you're almost guaranteed to die from his post-death attacks. You essentially only get 1 offensive action on this fight. You either need to deal 700 damage to his torso on the first turn, or you need to land a status effect, then guard the coin flip, then talk to him to stun him. Even then, you still might die. It's much simpler and much safer to walk around in the past. There is, however, a silver lining to dying to these things. Half the time if you die to them, and every time if you die to their coin flip, instead of a standard game over, you'll get dragged to 1 of 2 cages. You can escape these cages with lockpicking, a red vial, or a small key. And if you do, all of your status effects except for limb loss will be cured, you'll have 31 HP, and you will no longer have a phobia. It says that you still have one in the menu, but you don't. This can even cure panophobia. The downside is that all of your current party members will die, but if you didn't have any, there's no real cost. Infected enemies are variations of normal enemies you can find in various spots in the dungeon. They work almost identically to normal enemies with 2 key differences. The talk command no longer affects them, and they have an extra part that makes an attack every turn. The extra part is called a Brain Flower. It dies in 1 hit and has normal evasion. Every turn, it uses the skill Pollen, which deals 20 non-elemental damage, cannot be evaded, and has a 3% chance to miss, and always inflicts the Brain Flower status effect. The Brain Flower status effect is ridiculously lethal. It reduces your hit rate by 50%, similar to blindness, makes the target auto-attack, similar to bloodlust. What makes this dangerous is the fact that Brain Flowers make you attack any target in the battle, including allies or yourself. With the way damage works, attacking yourself or any ally almost certainly means they're going to die in 1 hit. Essentially, you can treat this attack as a 1-hit kill on a 1-turn delay. You can cure Brain Flowers with Worm Juice. For the infected Night Lurch, you don't need to change your strategy much.
Rotten meat won't distract it, but if you ambush it, you can hit the horn, then hit the head before it can use pollen.
For the infected Mumbler, if you're confident that you can defeat them in one turn, you can just use the regular strategy. If you can't, go for the Brain Flower first, then use the regular strategy.
For the Guard and Lord of the Flies, though, you have a problem. Both of these enemies get a full round of attacks off before they die, which includes the Brain Flower. Since you can't let the Brain Flower take a single turn, you need to target on the first turn. For the infected Guard, this means he'll get 2 chances to swing at you with his cleaver. Once on the first turn when you attack the flower, and once on the second turn when you guard his mad rush. That's a problem. You either need a second party member to hit the flower while you hit the arm, a way to hit multiple targets such as an explosive vial, or a way to keep your arms on like the Salmon Snake Soul or Arm Guards. Aside from the forced cleaver hits, once you destroy the Brain Flower, you fight these like any other guard. For the infected Lord of the Flies, do not even bother. Just don't. There's no winning strategy here aside from throwing a Murky Vial or having a ton of party members with high damage weapons. With no way to stun them to reduce their damage output, the fact that they're guaranteed to take an extra turn longer to safely kill, the fact that you can't reduce their damage with armor, and the fact that you have to guard the second turn, basically turns them into a guaranteed loss if you try to fight. In the best case scenario, you die from Hairy Palm the turn after you start fighting the main body. In the worst case scenario, you die immediately after destroying the flower.
The Cave Spider is an enemy in Present Mahabra that you defeat by talking to it and selecting Step on it. Scarabs are a very common enemy found wandering around outside the ancient city. Although you can find the corpse of one next to Sir Seymour, they have one of the cruelest abilities in the entire game and the most impressive code behind them. Scarabs only have one part, which is their whole body. It has 1,000 hit points and uses Poke every turn for 13 blunt damage. Poke ignores evasion. If you haven't defeated the Scarab at the end of the first turn, a second one joins the battle. At the end of the second turn, and every 4 turns afterwards, it spews acid at the person it poked. Acid deals 30 non-elemental damage, so armor won't help with it, and permanently destroys that character's equipped weapon. Blue Sin, Miasma, Circle Spear, Katana, that's gone, son. You'll never get it back. There is nothing you can do to prevent this except ending the fight. At the end of the third turn and every 4 turns afterwards, the second one will spew acid to melt another weapon. If your party cannot deal 1,000 damage in a turn, you cannot afford to fight these. They take 20% more damage from otherworldly damage, so cursed weapons and black orb makes this a bit easier. If you have mastery over insects, you can talk them out of fighting. Pick the talk command and tell them they don't have to fight. They'll agree and leave you alone, turning into friendly NPCs. Oh, and don't reach into their homes while they're inside. It'll end badly. Now for the spaghetti code. If you don't have mastery over insects and talk to them, you can inflict them with the attack buff by choosing please don't or we don't have to fight, or you can inflict defense debuff by choosing prepare to die. You might think from the names that these buff their attack and debuff their defense, but you'd be all wrong in a bag of chips. The attack buff state they gain does boost their attack stat from 10 to 15, but their 2 attacks are a flat amount of damage. You can boost their attack stat from 10 to 10 million. Poke don't care. The code says it deals 13 damage. Meanwhile, the defense debuff doesn't even affect their stats.
The defense debuff state means that any attack that they get hit by that reduces their defense is now 20% as likely to work. If you had a skill that debuffs their defense, it would now miss 80% of the time, but there are no player skills that do that. None. So while both of these effects get applied, they don't do anything. The spaghetti code doesn't end there. If you want to remove a character's weapon, you'd probably want a piece of code that looks something like this. This would check if the party leader was hit by the melting weapon state, then delete their currently held weapon. Very simple, very elegant, only takes 2 lines of code. This is not what Muro did. He set it up to call a common event where he manually put in if-else statements for every single character, holding every possible weapon. No, sorry, did I say a common event? Sorry, that's wrong. It seems like there's a limit on event length that Muro ran into, so afterwards it calls Melting Weapons 2, where it keeps going. But that still wasn't enough, so it calls Melting Weapons 3, and the event hits like 3,000 lines of code! You could do this in 2 lines of code! The Gaunt Knight, Sir Cyril, is the single most dangerous human you can find in the entire dungeon, but defeating him rewards you with his armor, which is tied with penance armor for best defense. His torso has 2,000 hit points, among the highest in the game. His head has 500, also among the highest in the game. His left arm has 450, his right arm has 350, and his legs have 50 each. I normally don't bother listing HP for every part, but it's important here. He's so tanky that common easy...
So I feel like, what, you take his legs out first, but then... maybe if you take his legs out.
wind tricks won't work. He can tank explosive vials without losing a single body part. Going straight for his head with Murky Vials or other headshot tools like Black Orb won't work because of the high HP. His head can survive multiple hits even when his legs are gone. His arms are gimmicky. When they take 40% damage, that is 180 for the left arm and 140 for the right, he drops his sword.
I suppose it doesn't matter if you, like... take his legs off, right? He probably can still attack you, even though I feel like that's not feasible. If he's got no legs, how the frick is he gonna hit you with a sword? Like, just step back. 40% damage to either arm causes him to drop a sword.
While either arm is holding a sword, it has a 50% chance of using Cross Slash. An attack that ignores evasion does 40 slashing damage and has a 95% chance to cause bleed, or attacks twice for 30 slashing damage each hit. Each of those 2 hits has a 95% chance to cut an arm off and inflict bleeding. He can't cut off 2 arms off the same character, but can cut off 2 arms of 2 different characters. Since he can use this attack twice, once with each arm, it's entirely possible he cuts off both arms off someone in a single round, or that he deals 120 damage to a character with 4 armor and kills them outright. When you deal enough damage to either arm to get him to drop his sword, he uses Gauntlet Punch instead, a much less dangerous attack that deals 20 bludgeoning damage and ignores evasion. If you cut off both of his arms, he'll do nothing for a turn, then start using Tackle with his torso, which works exactly like Gauntlet Punch, so there's no real point to completely disarming him. I recommend bringing an Elixir of Mind to this fight. If you use the Talk skill and throw the elixir at him, he'll be stunned for 2 turns. The turn you use the potion counts against the stun, so if you're solo, this only gives you 1 free attack. If you want to end this peacefully and permanently lock yourself out of the best armor by helping him for some bizarre reason, you can talk to him a second time and select any option except Prepare to Die to talk him down. This fight is very similar to a normal JRPG fight, so your strategy is going to revolve around healing damage and dealing damage. You want at least 1 full heal, but can skip that if you have high enough defense or enough party members. To recap, you want an Elixir of Mind, at least one strong heal, high defense, and hopefully a decent weapon. If you're solo, there's a 10% chance you'll miss one of his arms before you can take both out, so arm protection like Arm Guard or the Salmon Snake Soul is highly recommended, but not mandatory. You can find everything except arm protection nearby. If you head to the right of Mahabra in the present and come across a knight getting dragged by a Lord of the Flies, you can choose not to intervene and loot her corpse for 2 blue vials, plate armor, and a longsword. Just remember to check it twice. If you head to the Gaunt Knight's room in the past, you can speak with the wizard to purchase an Elixir of Mind to stun him and Elixirs of Body to heal. First turn, use the Talk command to stun him with the Elixir of Mind. Second turn, hit his left arm for at least 180 to make him drop his sword. Third turn, go after his right arm to make him drop his other sword. Fourth turn, attack his right arm again to finish it off. Fifth turn, attack one of his legs. Sixth turn, attack his other leg. Seventh turn, attack his head. He might survive this. Eighth turn, attack his head a second time to finish him off. However, there's an even easier way to defeat him without taking any damage. If you have the marksmanship skill, a short bow, and an iron arrow, you can just shoot him once on the overworld to instantly kill him. This marks one of 2 points across the entire game where a Ragnvaldr skill is actually useful, and the only time any part of his skill tree is useful on normal difficulty.
The Red Men are encounters in past Mahabra that can only be found in the Tomb of the Gods and the Temple of Torment. Don't fight them. Their arms have a massive 500 HP, their torso has a massive 1250 HP, their head has a massive 1200 HP, and these things are as durable as most bosses. They have no drops, they have no steals, they don't protect anything, there's literally no reason to bother with them. If for whatever reason you feel compelled to waste time and resources on these meat walls, put the Gaunt Bassinet on the main character before you fight them to protect yourself from getting stun-locked. You can get the Gaunt Bassinet from the Gaunt Knight, so check out my guide on how to beat him. If you happen to get lucky and find a plate helmet, you can equip that instead. Their arms attack with Red Grasp, which ignores evasion, does 30 bludgeoning damage, and has a 30% chance to stun you for 2 turns. The left arm does it every turn, the right arm has a 50% chance to do it. The head has a 50% chance to use Shivering Scream, which does 20 mind damage. Just like everything else in the dungeon, on the second turn and every third turn afterwards, the right arm will attempt a coin flip attack that kills you instantly. These enemies have no special interactions. You can't talk to them, you can't use exotic skills or weird item interactions, you have nothing to work with but damage. If you have easy access to status effects like Poison or Burn, apply it to the torso to deal 500 damage at the end of the turn and kill it in 3 turns. Otherwise, target the head until it dies. The head and body have the same evasion and the head has 50 less HP. There's no action guide for this enemy because there's no clever way to win safely and easily except by dealing 1200 damage to the head on the first turn. The Lady of the Moon is a unique encounter in the Tomb of the Gods. You'll have to solve the block puzzle in the past and bring a purifying talisman or counter magic to get to her. To defeat her, attack her at all. To solve the puzzles, push the statue right, then up, then left.
Push the left statue up, then the right statue left, then down. Push the top statue to the right, then push the rest of the statues right, up, and left, going from the rightmost statue to the leftmost statue. Then push the last statue up. However, she has a questline contained entirely within this battle. If you bring the girl to her and ask for help, she'll fully restore everyone in the party, including all their missing limbs. You can only trigger her once, so if you started the fight by mistake, you'll never meet her again. The downside to this deal is that you lose the little girl, but depending on how bad your run is going, that might be a mercy. The Tormented One is a 3-part boss fight in Mahabra, and the new god I recommend facing first. He's easily the least dangerous to fight. To start the fight with him, you need to go to the Temple of Torment in the past and sacrifice something on the chains. While you can sacrifice a party member here, most people would go to the present, go to this hole south of the Temple District, hop down, make a human husk by interacting with this machine, then head back to the chains in the past. Once the sacrifice is on the chains, the first phase of the fight is available. He'll spawn slightly south of you and start wandering around. If he sees you, he'll chase you. If you touch him, you'll start a fight against Phase 1. This fight is pretty straightforward. Every turn, his right arm uses Pummel, an attack that hits 2 random targets twice for 10 blunt damage for 40 total damage. It's one of the few attacks that bypasses pheromones. His left arm has a 50% chance of either doing nothing or also using Pummel. Both arms have 500 hit points. His torso uses the spell Chains of Torment on the second turn and every 3 turns afterwards, same pattern as most coin flip attacks. It does 60 piercing damage, ignores evasion, and causes bleeding. If both arms are destroyed, his head becomes vulnerable and he'll cast chains every turn. His head has 2,000 hit points, so don't bother with it. His torso only has 1,250, but like Crow Mauler, takes 500 damage each round from poison or burning. The trick to this phase is don't even bother. If you accidentally touch him, run away. You gain literally nothing from fighting this phase, and it's a completely optional fight. Instead, lure him over to the left side in one of the bigger rooms and sneak past him. His pathfinding's pretty bad, so you can finish the sacrifice in peace and leave with the right side door. Phase 2 begins when you get close to the temple's exit. Phase 2 is mostly the same as Phase 1, but he won't cast Chains of Torment until you destroy both his arms, and his torso only has 750 HP. Destroying the head only stops him from casting Chains of Torment, and it has ridiculous evasion, so again, don't bother. Once the torso is destroyed, you move on to Phase 3, the real fight. Phase 3 consists of 3 wheels. The 2 outer wheels have 10,000 HP and heal to full HP at the end of every turn. The innermost wheel has 3,000 hit points and must be killed by an attack and not damage over time. The innermost wheel is 50-50 on either doing nothing or casting chains. The outer two wheels are 50-50 on doing nothing or using Revolution Tear. Revolution Tear does 30 slashing damage, ignores evasion, has a 70% chance to break a bone, a 20% chance to infect your arm, and a 20% chance to infect your leg. Since there's no way to prevent broken bones, grit your teeth and suck it up. The innermost wheel has a massive 85% physical evasion, but no magic evasion. If you deal 100 damage to the other two wheels in the same turn, the innermost wheel loses all of its evasion and takes double damage from physical attacks for the next 2 turns. With all that stated, what do you really need to bring to the fight?
Not the war scythe, that's for sure.
That thing's only got 9% odds of hitting both outer wheels. Complete waste of time. Since this fight is based almost entirely around dealing damage, what you want to bring to this fight is damage mitigation. Healing spells, healing items, blood golem, pheromones, good armor, so on and so forth. Thankfully, right nearby is the best armor in the game and free plates mail. So check out my guide on how to win against the Gaunt Knight. He also deals a bunch of bleeding and infection, so either bring the Salmon Snake Soul or a bunch of cloth rags and green herbs to cure those after the fight. I wouldn't bother keeping the Salmon Snake Soul equipped during the fight. The Ring of Wraith could mitigate more damage than you'd lose from blood loss. To damage him, the best choice is almost definitely status effects. This late into the game, it's easy to get both Combustion and Pyromancy trick to burn him, so check out my Hexen guide to get both of those for free. You can also get a few poison darts if you don't have any by looting them off body snatchers, so check out my guide on how to beat those guys. Just make sure to keep 1 or 2 darts for later bosses. Since you can skip the first phase, I'll start off on phase 2. I'll leave damage mitigation to you. You can put on the Gaunt armor on someone and hit them with pheromones and have them spam guard, or you could drop pheromones on a blood golem, or you could avoid guarding and just use a ton of healing, whatever, doesn't
Playing
matter.
idle game
Pick
or-
whatever you feel like. If
Playing
you
the
have buffs
Milky
like
Way
fast
idle.
attack or special vials, phase 2 is a good time to set those up. Status effects deal 500 damage to his torso, and you only need to deal 750, so combustion instantly ends this phase if it burns. I'd recommend trying to get poison and burning on it immediately and going straight to phase 3. The status effects you land on his torso in phase 2 carry over to the innermost circle in phase 3, so if you landed both, this fight should be a cakewalk. There's essentially 2 ways to approach phase 3, slow and fast. The slow way is to focus entirely on defense, while the status effects from phase 2 whittle him down to 1 hit point, then finish him off with an auto-hit item, like Murky Vial, or Priest Lantern, or a spell like Hurting, or Black Orb. When he suddenly takes reduced damage from status effects, he's at 1 hit point and it's time to end it. Pyromancy, Trick, and Combustion count as physical attacks that deal fire damage, so don't try to finish him off with those. What I recommend is the fast approach. Despite the wheels being made completely of metal or stone and rotating through a mostly water liquid, you can burn them, poison them, and bleed them somehow. If you land any status effect on the outer 2 wheels, the innermost wheel will be jammed invulnerable for the entire rest of the fight. So just burn or poison those wheels and beat him senseless for double damage. Aside from potentially dealing 120 damage to someone with no armor in a single round, this guy's just a pushover. He's there to waste your healing like a JRPG boss. Once he's dead, you can return to the temple in the present to learn Chains of Torment, the single hardest hitting spell in the entire game. And you
Funny
can
for
do a new and
JRPGs, I always use
very dangerous
particle
enemy
instead
that
of
started
arms.
hunting you down throughout the city. You also get access to Ragnvaldr's skill tree, but because that'll be useful.
I know what you mean. Like on boss fights, you normally end up using like revive items and goddamn healing items, especially like back in the old.
The White
Final Fantasy
Angel is an enemy that
especially
spawns
Guardians Crusade,
all
that game
over
is my
Mahabra and the
favorite.
ancient city once you've defeated
God,
the Tormented
Guardians,
one.
goddamn,
You'll
motherfucker,
almost always
Crusade.
fight him
The
immediately
game was so
after
good.
the Tormented one fight, so just heal up and he should be a breeze.
Both of his arms have 700 HP and a 1 in 3 chance of using the move Single Blade.
Single blade does 30 slashing damage, ignores evasion, has a 70% chance to cut off an arm, and a 90% chance of causing bleeding. If either arm is intact, on the end of the second turn and every third turn afterwards, the standard rhythm you should know by now, he'll use an instant kill coin flip attack called Helm Breaker. As always, if the main character guards, it'll automatically miss. Even if you fail the coin flip, this attack might miss anyway because it doesn't ignore evasion. He also has a second move that he uses at a different rhythm if he has both arms, called Blade Dance. This deals 50 slashing damage, ignores evasion, has a 95% chance to cut an arm, and a 90% chance to cause bleeding. From turn 2 onwards, he has a 50% chance to use it on every turn except the turns directly after he uses Helmbreaker. He needs both arms to use it. Since all he does is slashing damage and arm cuts, I highly recommend bringing the Gaunt armor to this fight in either the Salmon Snake Soul or Arm Guards. The Gaunt armor will reduce his damage by nearly 60%. If you need to know where to get it, check out my video on how to beat the Gaunt Knight. If you don't have the Gaunt set, just pile on whatever armor you have. There's no real way to avoid taking damage in this fight without extremely high damage or extremely good luck. Anyone without arm protection should exclusively guard. Uniquely, he has 3 different parts you can destroy to end the fight. His torso, which has 1,250 hit points, his heart, which has 200 hit points but 85% physical evasion and 40% magical evasion, and his head, which has 500 HP and 85% physical evasion and 50% magical evasion. There's no way to make any of them vulnerable, so to win this fight you should focus exclusively on his torso or his heart. If you want to destroy his torso, bring high damage weapons or a status effect. Round 1, pop him with a poison dart or burn him with combustion, then guard until he dies. Just like Crow Mauler, it will deal 500 damage to his torso at the end of turn, so he'll die in 3 turns, or 2 turns if you attack him for 250. Otherwise, just pile damage onto his torso while guarding Helmbreaker. If you're feeling lucky, you can go after his heart with Black Orb. You need Black Orb to hit twice, which has 65% odds of happening in a single cast and 95% odds of killing him if you cast it twice.
Once he's down, make absolutely certain to absorb his soul into a soul stone. It's the second best accessory in the entire game and incredibly useful for upcoming fights. Valtiel is the new god of enlightenment and one of the most obnoxious piles of RNG in the entire game. His right brain has a 3 in 16 chance of casting Hurting on a random party member to deal 50 damage, remove an arm, and cause bleeding, a 3 in 16 chance of casting Black Orb on a random target for 90 damage, and a 5 out of 8 chance of doing nothing. His left brain has a 50-50 on either doing nothing or headbutting the entire party for 15 bludgeoning damage. Both brains have 2,500 hit points.
You were saying does the left and brain left and right brain attack on the same turn? If this is OP, you can just get hit with 90 and then 15. Then push your party.
You should notice right away that 90 damage from Black Orb followed by 15 damage from Headbutt is enough to kill someone.
Yep.
In any given round, there's a roughly 9% chance he'll just choose to delete one of your party members. There's only 2 ways to simultaneously protect yourself from
And if you're playing hard mode, GG.
arm loss and massive damage. The first setup is starting the fight with the Jingasa Kabuto and Eastern Silk Robes as your armor, and the Salmon Snake Soul or Arm Guards as your accessory. You need to collapse the 6th floor mines to get Eastern armor, so it's pretty out of the way. The second,
You
much
actually have to
simpler
fight the
and
stone
much
up
more
and then put
convenient
Eastern
option that
in
I
the
recommend
habit.
is to bring the White Angel Soul with any magic-resistant armor, if you have some, and guard on your main turns and only act on your extra turn. If you need to know how to defeat the White Angel, watch my video on it. Once you have a way to protect yourself from the worst case scenarios, bring 1 or 2 powerful heals and a way to inflict specifically poison. If you want to be completely safe, bring 5 powerful heals. You can also bring Combustion or Pyromancy Trick for this fight, but you specifically want 1 use of poison. Turn 1 with the White Angel Soul, guard. On your extra turn, poison his face. Not either brain part, specifically the face. When his face is poisoned, it takes 50% more physical damage. His face has 3,500 hit points and takes 700 each turn from poison, so he'll die in 5 turns or fewer. From turn 2 onwards, you still want to guard on your main turn. On your extra turn, if your attack stat is 90 or better, or if you have combustion, attack or combust his face for massive damage. If your attack stat is below 90, you get to play Jeopardy! Pick the talk command, then answer the trivia questions correctly. The answers are Sylvian, Chambara, the year 809, Nasra, year 0, the trickster moon god, Vinland, Moonlight Cancer. A few turns into the fight, he'll cast Whispers of Grogoroth on someone. It doesn't matter, the poison will kill him before his ASMR kills you of cringe. If you drop below 50 hit points during the fight, heal on your extra turn. And that's it. Despite the possibility of him using Black Orb and Headbutt every turn, you can still beat him without death or limb loss.
Skin Granny, full name
I guess this guy's so
Foreskin
good at
Grandmother,
Fear and
is the
Havoc
most
'cause he uses, like,
dangerous fight among the new gods of Mahabharata,
trainers or
which
something, right,
makes sense since
spawn
she
items and
isn't
then
actually a
chase
new
them.
god, she's a weird nightmare thing. On the first turn, she'll appear to be some helpless spinster and do nothing. On the second turn, she starts attacking. She has 3 arms that are all identical. They each have 270 hit points and always use
partner. I know this shit's kind of spoilers, but I'm probably never going to play this game, and I just enjoy just random information like this, and I kind of like want to see what all the enemies are and shit, and how to defeat themselves. I find this video quite interesting.
use the Critical Slash skill. Critical Slash ignores evasion, does 35 slashing damage, causes bleeding, has a 70% chance of inflicting critical injury, and a 50% chance of infecting an arm.
If you know this
While
shit,
you're
the game
affected
is
by
probably the
critical
most
injury,
easiest thing
the
ever.
next
It's
thing
just
that moves your HP, whether it's healing or damage,
the game
sets
gets
your
you by
HP
lack
to
of
1.
knowledge.
She has 2 legs that each have a 1 in 3 chance of using kick, an attack that does 20 bludgeoning, can be evaded, and misses
You can do
10% of the
quite- you can
time
be quite
even
bad doing
before
taking damage if you
evasion.
follow this guy's guide.
The legs also have 270 hit points. When you see the message, Foreskin Grandmother is flexing her fingers, next turn she'll use an instant kill coin flip attack. Foreskin Grandmother does the attack on the 3rd turn and every 4 turns afterwards, completely changing up the rhythm every other enemy uses. This attack can be stopped if the main character guards or if she's missing all 3 arms. It can be reduced to 5 damage if the target is wearing the Iron Mask or Penance armor. There's a common myth that cutting off the middle arm stops it. No. It has to be all 3 arms. Her torso has 1,900 hit points, making her the most frail new god in Mahabharata. If you hit her with fire damage, the torso will start taking 50% more physical damage. Remember, Combustion and Pyromancy Trick are physical, and her torso has a 15% elemental weakness to fire, so Combustion deals over 600 damage this fight. However, even when you kill her, she still gets a chance to make one last set of attacks before dying. Because of how much damage she can deal and how critical injury bypasses defense, if she gets a single turn, she may simply choose to use Critical Slash 3 times on someone, inflict Critical State on the first hit, drop them to 1 HP with the second, and kill them outright with the third. If she has even one arm remaining, she can still critically injure someone, kick them down to 1 hit point, then kick them again to finish them off. The Salmon Snake Soul is the only thing that stops critical injury, and you're limited to one of those. There's essentially 3 ways to guarantee her arms won't true combo someone. The most obvious is to destroy all her arms. This requires 3 actions before her second turn, which means you either need 3 party members or 2 party members and 1 White Angel Soul. If every character has 90 attack or higher, then even on the lowest possible damage roll, it'll still take out a limb. You can also throw 3 Verky Vials to destroy every limb. The second way is to use the skill War Cry or the spell Pheromones and equip the target with the Salmon Snake Soul. He'll still take a ton of damage from attacks, but he won't get critically injured. Just make sure to have him guard and heal him up a bunch. The Gaunt armor will cut her damage by over half, and guarding will have it again, so make sure to kill the Gaunt Knight and take his armor if you're going to do this. Check out my guide to get it easily and safely. The third way is my favorite way. Kill her before she even gets a turn. To pull this off, you need an orange vial, 2 characters, some form of fire damage, which is a Priest's Lantern or the Combustion spell, the Purified Eastern Sword, and the White Angel Soul. If you have a brown vial, you can use the Gigagetsu charm instead of the White Angel Soul. You can get an orange vial from Isaiah's corpse, the White Angel Soul from the White Angel, obviously, and the Eastern Sword by grabbing a guaranteed explosive vial from the 6th floor mines to get into the thicket, picking up the sword and killing the Assassin Spectre. I have guides for each of these enemies, so check them out. Turn 1, have 1 character buff the sword holder with the vial, and the other use a fire attack. On your extra turn, land a critical hit to kill her instantly. With the White Angel Soul, you have 74% odds. With the Gigagetsu charm, 94%. Fighting her solo is incredibly risky. If you're going to fight her solo, bring the Combustion spell, 1 Poison Dart or Purple Vial, the Iron Mask, the Gaunt Armor, the Salmon Snake Soul, and 4 strong heals. If you're solo Enki, you will need to equip the Penance Armor. But why are you solo Enki this late into the game if you're not doing a challenge run? Go get Blood Golem and some skeletons, dude. Turn 1, poison her. Turn 2, cast Combustion on her torso and hope for a burn. Turn 3 and onwards, guard if you're above 45 hit points, or heal if you're below it. If you burned her, she'll die this turn. Otherwise, she'll die in the next couple of turns. If you want a much more aggressive and risky strategy, or just don't want to waste a precious poison dart, you can fight her entirely with Combustion. The exact timing of when you need to...
I'm not gonna remember any of this information, right? Unless I watch it as I'm going through the game, and then... I don't know. I don't think I would do that. Anyway. This game is actually cool, how it's got like all the spells and stuff. I actually like it. It's a lot more in-depth than I actually thought it was.
To heal will vary depending on how many times she decides to kick, so I'll leave it to your discretion. Turn 1, cast Combustion on the only target and hope for a burn. Turn 2, cast Combustion on one of the arms. If you miss this attack and didn't land a burn on turn 1, you will run out of healing and you will die. Turn 3, cast Combustion on her second arm.
I mean, he's got like the
You'll get hit with Face Rip, but it's 5
HD
damage.
UI one, right? Which makes it look a lot better, in my opinion.
Turn 4, cast Combustion on her final arm.
I understand that most people
Turn
like
5 and onwards, cast Combustion on her
standard looking
torso
version
until
of
she
it.
dies.
It's like, I'm the same with old school RuneScape. I prefer the old school RuneScape where it's just bare bones.
Once she's defeated, make sure to accept Nilvan's request. This gives you the Endless Soul, one of 3 souls needed to make further progress, and unlocks Kahara's
I guess it just
skill
makes it
tree
look
on the
more polished,
Hexen,
right? But
which
I
is the
understand
strongest
feeling of it,
skill
like
tree in the
pixelated
game.
and like making it more like dredgy, being pixelated. More like twisted and, you know, like rustic as it being more pixelated, right? Instead of just being all polished and cartoonish, you know.
The nameless figurine is a boring wall of HP and damage. To fight him, you need an endless soul, a tormented soul, and an enlightened soul in your inventory. You can snag those from the new god bosses by absorbing the souls of the player characters or from empty scrolls. His arms have 1,400 hit points and use Smash every turn. Smash does 30 blunt damage and ignores evasion. If you destroy both, his torso starts using Tackle. His head has 1,800 hit points and the same evasion as his torso, and his torso has 3,000 hit points but takes 600 from burning and poison. There's not really anything to this fight. He deals damage, he takes damage, he has no special interactions, there's no real tactics here. He takes 20% more damage from otherworldly? The only unique thing in this fight is that you have a 100% chance to escape from him. Because his head barely has more HP than his arms, the best thing you can do to win this fight is just attack his head until it dies and heal if you're about to die. This man's the embodiment of the most boring JRPG gameplay. If you bring the White Angel Soul, Gaunt Armor, and a single strong heal, even with starting weapons, you only need to heal once while you're beating on his head until he dies. If you plan on facing the Old Guardian, you should take the time to defeat both of his arms before defeating him. Defeating Nameless's arms defeats the Guardian's arms, which makes the Old Guardian a cakewalk. Once he's dead, you have easy access to the Golden Temple. The Old Guardian is a completely optional and mostly pointless boss fight in Present Mahabra. You need to solve the puzzle in the Tomb of the Gods, travel through time, pick up the Old Passage key, head into the Old Passage, then explore a bit to find him. He's in the bottom right. The Old Guardian knocks out absolutely ludicrous amounts of damage every turn. Each of his arms has 1,400 hit points and either uses Smash for 30 bludgeoning or hurls a boulder for 50 bludgeoning. Neither of these attacks can miss or be evaded. His legs also have 1,400 hit points, and on the second turn and every 3 turns afterwards, one of them will use Axe Kick, a move that deals 35 bludgeoning damage and causes fractures. This attack can be evaded. His head has 2,400 hit points and his torso has 1,250 hit points. They have the same evasion. His torso will use Tackle if both of his arms are gone. Just like Crow Mauler, his torso takes 500 damage from burning and poison. The trick to fighting this guy is to fight the much less dangerous Nameless figurine first and destroy both of Nameless's arms. Due to a programming oversight, Nameless and Guardian share limb flags. When you fight Guardian second, he starts the fight without arms. If you're really scared of getting hit by Axe Kick for some reason, you can use a red vial or flock of crows to blind him. You could also kill Francois to unlock the domination skill tree and learn defense stance, then equip the butterfly soul to gain 100% evasion. I have videos on how to get both of those, but it's not really needed. Without arms, his damage is so low you can ignore it. Once you start the fight and he has no arms, just damage his torso until he dies. It's his frailest part. Status effects can help, but they're not really needed. If you want to fight him with arms for some reason, the strategy doesn't change at all, you just take more damage doing it. Once he is dead, you can loot the red scarf from his body, which is the single worst helmet in the game, or use a soul stone to get his unique soul, which is probably the least useful soul in the game.
Francois is the last of the new gods and essentially the final boss for multiple endings. He's also a gigantic pushover that goes into psychosis if exposed to smug anime girl reaction images, and the easiest boss in the game if you use that against him. Franco's Cutlass chops arms and has a bunch of fire attacks. He also has a phase 2, none of that really matters. First turn, pick the talk command. Choose prepare to die like a worm, then pick either this is the end of you or of course you're close to the gods. Then pick you're nothing but a puppet in the greater scheme of things. Then pick how little you really know. Frankie is now stunned for 2 turns. You can repeat this as often as you like. If you do it every other turn, he'll never attack you. When you see the line, why won't you answer to me, he'll start attacking again next turn, so use the talk command afterwards. First, destroy both of his arms. Second, destroy his torso. If you have any status effects like poison or burn, they'll work through his torso HP quickly. Once you've done enough damage to his torso, he'll enter phase 2. If he has either arm in phase 2, he gains a coin flip attack that ignores stun, which is why you destroy his arms in phase 1. Then just kill his torso some more. He's really that simple. All you have to do is act smug and he'll have a panic attack and die.
The molded are enemies you can find wandering around in the void. They come in 2 varieties, males, which attack alone, and females, which attack in pairs. The males either squirm in pain, which does nothing, use blundering tackle, which does 30 bludgeoning damage and can't be evaded, or use inner juices, which does 45 non-elemental damage and also can't be evaded. The females either squirm in pain or use blundering tackle. Their torsos all perform these attacks and have 1,800 HP. Their legs have 20 HP, but attacking the legs is a waste of time. The best way to fight these guys is don't bother. They drop nothing, they have nothing, they're slow and easy to avoid, you can't even devour their corpses or absorb their souls. There's no fancy tactics to fight these guys either, you just have to chew through their massive HP pool. Blights are skinless pterodactyls you can find flying around in the void. Despite being new gods and seemingly very dangerous, they're unbelievably vulnerable to the talk command. If you're gonna bother fighting one, make sure to bring a yellow vial. You can milk 2 yellow vials from the chained up cave mother in the 4th floor mines. On the first turn, use the talk command and select Offer Yellow Vial. While the description text says that the creature leaves you alone, you can clearly see that you just blew all of its limbs off. If you're going to try to fight it legitimately for some reason, you'll probably want to bring a red vial. At the end of the first turn, the head uses Poke, an attack that does 25 piercing damage and has a 90% chance of causing bleeding. It can be evaded. At the end of the second turn, the head has a 50% chance of using Peck to peck someone's head off with the message, Crowmauler peck someone's head off, despite Crowmauler being nowhere to be found. Or it will use Poke again. On the third turn, it does nothing. It repeats this pattern every 3 turns, and a red vial prevents its attacks from landing. Just like with the cave gnomes, you can use the talk command to stun them. Pick talk, then pick Kue with the tilde. You can't alternate between attacking and stunning, but you can use stun every turn to keep him from acting. However, the head ignores stun, so you'll need a red vial still. Just like with cave gnomes, if you're going to fight one, either bring a party member or the White Angel Soul. Check out my video on where to find your party members in the Void, or check out my video on how to beat the White Angel. On the first turn, use Talk to stun it, and have your party member, or on your extra turn, blind its head with a red vial. Keep talking to stun it and have your party member, or on your extra turn, stab its torso until it dies. The Greater Blight is an optional super boss that attacks you in the void if you don't hide in a hole and wait long enough. Once you encounter it, it spends 3 turns approaching the party and starts attacking on the 4th turn. On the first 2 turns it approaches, it has 104% evasion, so no physical attacks can hit it. On the 3rd turn, it drops to 65%. It has no additional magic evasion, so certain spells can hit it. Damage it takes while approaching carries over. Once it actually arrives, it has 5 parts to contend with. Its torso has 2,000 hit points and ends the fight when defeated. Its arm does nothing and you could ignore it. Both of its legs have 1,000 hit points and you stomp every turn. Stomp deals 35 blunt damage and always causes a fracture. It can be evaded and has a 10% chance to miss. Its head has 2,000 hit points and uses Chomp every turn. Chomp deals 120 piercing damage, making it the single hardest hitting enemy attack in the entire game. It also has a 70% chance to cut an arm and a 40% chance to cut a leg, making it, to my knowledge, the only skill in the game that can cut off 2 limbs in 1 hit. Like Stomp, it can be evaded and has a 10% chance to miss. The head has the same evasion as the torso, and defeating it ends the fight. Because of the Blight's overwhelming damage output, even tanking strategies like Blood Golem and Pheromones will not work here. Blood Golem survives 1 turn on average. If you want to wrangle this dinosaur, you cannot let it touch you. The simplest way is to bring a purple vial and survive 1 round of attacks from it. On the 2nd turn, not the 1st turn, the 2nd turn, this is important, throw the purple vial. It will arrive on the 4th turn, make 1 set of attacks, and die. If you throw it on the 1st turn, he'll leave his torso behind and fight you without it. If you have the Gaunt Armor and Guard, you'll take about 50 damage and get a fracture. If you have Blood Golem and Pheromones, you can direct all of the attacks to the Golem instead. However, there's no guarantee you'll find a purple vial, so the second way is to use magic. You need to deal a total of 2,000 damage with magic in 2 turns. Chains of Torment deals 900 and then an extra 240 of bleeding damage, so if you can cast it twice, you'll win. You can learn Chains of Torment off the Tormented one in the present after you defeat him. To cast it twice in 2 turns, you'll either need a second party member or the White Angel Soul, as well as a very powerful mind restorative like an Elixir of Mind or Blue Demon Powder. Cast the spell, restore your mind, cast it a 2nd time, easy win. If you want, you can mix together both of these strategies by using a purple vial on turn 1 and Chains of Torment on turn 2, but in my opinion that's a wasteful overkill. The 3rd way is my personal favorite. Just turn this into Dark Souls and dodge all his attacks. Do keep in mind this will not work if you have Teratophobia, Erotophobia, or Panophobia, since the phobia status lowers your evasion. The only way to have access to the Void is to defeat Francois, which means you have a Domination Soul and access to the Golden Temple. If you cut the heart in the Golden Temple in the present, then go to the backyard, you can find the Butterfly Soul on the ground. With the Domination Soul, you can learn Defense Stance. The accessory adds 50% to your evasion, and Defense Stance adds another 50% to your evasion for 5 turns. This means all of his attacks will miss you. As long as you remember to use Defense Stance every few turns, you can even punch the dinosaur to death just to say that you did. The Yellow King is the final boss of Ending C1. He's remarkably straightforward for how dangerous he is. First off, I would highly recommend bringing at least 1 status effect like a Poison Dart or Fire Magic to this fight. If you need a Poison Dart, kill a Body Snatcher. Check my video for how to do it safely. If you need Fire Magic, check my guide to every spell. This late in the game, you can guarantee you find 2 different Fire Scrolls. I also recommend bringing magic-resistant equipment like the Soul Devour Necklace, Eclipse Talisman, Eastern Armor, or High Priest Robe, and a way to get double turns like the Fast Attack skill or the White Angel Soul.
Since you have to kill Francois the Dominating to even get here, you could backtrack to the Hexen table and spend 2 soul stones to get Fast Stance. The boss himself is really simple. First, you have the head. The head doesn't do anything and has 100% evasion. Ignore it. The snake has 2,000 hit points and heals all the other parts for a meager 70 HP. Ignore it. The torso has 3,200 hit points and either casts Black Orb for 90 otherworldly damage or summons an Asterisk. Black Orb is the only thing you need to worry about in this whole fight. You can summon up to 5 Asterisks over the course of the fight. They have 200 HP and either poke for 13 blunt damage or do nothing. The strategy for this fight is pretty simple and boils down to don't get destroyed by Black Orb. Make sure you start the fight at full HP. On the first round, if you have Fast Attack or Brown Vials, use them immediately. Any character that doesn't have a way to get double turns should instead use a status effect on the torso like Burning or Poison. From turn 2 onwards, make sure the characters guard on their normal turns and only attack on their extra turns. Guarding cuts the damage of Black Orb from 90 to 45, making it very survivable. Heal anyone who drops below 60 and just stall. Poison kills him in 4 turns, or 5 turns if you can't out-damage the snake's healing. If you get poison and burn off in the first round, he'll die in 2 rounds. If you see him say, "I offer salvation," next turn he'll use an instant death coin flip on top of his normal attacks. You should already be guarding on your main turns to avoid death by Black Orb, so it doesn't matter. Moonless guards spawn inside the gauntlet, occasionally in Mahabra, and if you get the 10% chance Moonless Village event determined when you make your character, 2 will spawn inside the Cave Dweller village and will have wiped it out by the time you arrive. These things are ridiculously dangerous and are almost never worth fighting. All of their limbs have 20 hit points and go down to a single hit. Their cleaver arm works just like a normal guard's arm. Each turn it uses Hack to cut off one of your limbs and deal 35 slashing damage. Their empty arm does nothing, but if you destroy both arms, their torso will start using Tackle instead of Gaping Mouth, but only sometimes. Since they don't have a head, cutting their legs just makes the torso take 50% more damage. It's not worth the time. Their torso has 650 hit points and uses Gaping Mouth every turn. Gaping Mouth does a massive 45 piercing damage and can't be evaded. At the end of the second turn and every third turn afterwards, the torso uses Devour, a coin flip attack that hits 3 times for a total of 120 piercing damage. You can prevent it by guarding. It performs Devour in addition to Gaping Mouth, so the torso by itself can knock out 165 damage in a single turn. If you add in their cleaver, they hit 200 average damage in a single turn. Moonless guards get post-death attacks like normal guards, but since they can attack with their torso every turn, the only way to fight one of these without taking a ton of damage is to deal 650 damage to the torso during the on-guard round. If you cannot do that, you cannot fight them safely. If you want to fight them dangerously, the best advice I can offer is to target their cleaver on the first turn, guard the coin flip on the second turn, then deal as much damage to the torso as quickly as you can. These monsters are designed to be unfair. They exist to stop you from getting through the final area, even though you probably have a full party and can take 12 turns before they can act. Two-Headed Crow Mauler is an optional boss found in the 9th floor trap in the Gauntlet. It's actually just the same guy as a regular Crow Mauler, but back alive if you killed him, and a little bit stronger.
If you destroyed either of his arms when you killed him previously, he'll start this fight without those arms. He's not particularly different from the Crow Mauler you're used to. His torso has the same HP and still dies in 3 turns to any status effect. His head still either use Peck to instantly kill someone, Flock of Crows to blind someone, or do nothing. His Mauler still uses Maul every turn, which always causes a fracture and can infect both an arm and a leg. He still can't peck the main character until the main character is alone. The only difference between then and now is that you need to bring 2 red vials, or 1 red vial and Flock of Crows, and you need to get off 2 actions before he pecks, by bringing a second party member. You also need to bring the Iron Mask to cure blindness. You can get the Iron Mask from Isaiah, I have a video about it. On the first turn, blind both heads. On the second turn, burn or poison his torso, or just start attacking it until he dies. He still only has 1,250 hit points, and this late in the game that's barely a speed bump. He'll still get off a post-death round of attacks. I didn't know this at the time I made the first Crow Mauler video, but Isaiah's Iron Mask doesn't just prevent blindness, it also cures it. If anyone was blinded during the fight, you can just equip the Iron Mask on them to regrow their eyeballs. The Yellow Lizard Mage is the game's final enemy. In theory, they're a combination of the martial prowess of a lizard man with the magical powers of a yellow mage. In practice, it's always worth fighting these things because you'll take negative damage. One of them performs La Danse Macabre and attacks you on the overworld. You know how far away you are when he starts casting Hurting. You need to dash to get to him without losing a limb. Their arms have a massive 750 hit points, which is the only reason these guys are even remotely challenging. The sword arm has equal odds of using crude sword, low sweep, or doing nothing, just like a lizardman. These are both attacks that always cut a limb. You can evade both of them and they have an 11% chance to miss. Crude sword deals 40 slashing damage and cuts the arm. Low sweep does 30 slashing damage and cuts the leg. The staff arm is supposed to have a 50% chance to cast Hurting, but doesn't have enough mind to do so. So instead it has a 50% chance of doing nothing or casting Locust Swarm. If you destroy both arms, next turn it will start using Tail Whip. To fight these things, you must bring either the Salmon Snake's soul or the ability to do 750 damage in a single turn. The Gaunt Bassinet can prevent stun from Locust Swarm, which is extremely helpful if your damage is too low to defeat the sword arm in one round. First, destroy the sword arm. This is the only threat in the entire fight. Second, destroy the staff arm to prevent Locust Swarm. Third, destroy the tail. A single attack will do. He is now completely helpless. Fourth, use the talk command and select Please Don't. This will cause him to hand over an elixir of body, which will almost always heal you for more damage than you took during the fight. From here, just destroy him. The specifics don't matter because he can't fight back. After the fight, check his body for an elixir of mind. Between this and the other elixir, you can fully recover one party member by defeating one of these guys. Rogoroth is the final boss of Route B and is the single most dangerous enemy on normal mode. The only person that needs to survive this fight is the main character, and he doesn't need to survive with his mind intact, so remember that some losses are acceptable on the route to victory. This fight consists of his body, 2 arms, and 5 eyes.
Regardless of your fears, you will start this fight in the Phobia state, which increases the damage of Claw of a God. Additionally, before anyone gets to act, he uses Whispers of Grogoroth, which deals 35 otherworldly element mind loss and curses them to die in 5 turns. Unlike when fighting against Valtiel, the curse can be dispelled by a Purifying Talisman. You need to defeat his body to win. His body has 6,000 hit points and takes 1,000 from burning and poison. The torso has a 2/3 chance to do nothing and a 1/3 chance to use Burning Gaze, which deals 35 fire damage to the entire party and can't be evaded. Both of his arms have 3,000 hit points and use Claw of a God every turn. Claw of a God always severs an arm and can technically be evaded. But because the whole party has the Phobia status, they lose 50% physical evasion, so stacking Defense Stance and Butterfly Soul will not let you auto-dodge this attack. On top of that, the attack deals 45 slashing damage by default, but due to Phobia, jumps to 67 slashing damage. It has a 10% chance to miss before evasion. At the end of the first turn, and every 3 turns afterwards, the open eyes will squirt a Molten for 35 fire damage and a 95% chance of setting the target on fire. This attack never misses and can't be evaded. Squirting a Molten what? Who knows, game doesn't say. Certain eyes close and others open the turn before they squirt. The eyes only have 100 hit points each, except for the large center eye with 300. These attacks ignore the defense buff from guarding, making these eyes incredibly dangerous. Once you've destroyed both of his arms, his torso will start taking extra damage, but his arms have the same HP as his torso, so that's not particularly useful. While it's technically possible to win this fight solo, it requires such extraordinary luck that it's not worth attempting. Bring a full party. It doesn't matter what they have equipped or how much damage they deal, they're only there to prevent Grogoroth from focusing down the main character. To stand a chance in this fight, equip the main character with your best shield, the hard leather armor or trench coat, the gaunt bassinet, and the white angel soul. Bring at least one source of poison, a purifying talisman, and a completely unreasonable amount of healing. You might also want to bring at least one person capable of performing leg sweep, whether that's the guard or the main character after learning it from the Hexen, or Murky Vial. Unless someone else is affected by pheromones or war cry, the main character should always guard on his main turns. The only thing you should be worrying about is keeping him alive. The easiest way to do this is to have him heal himself if he starts his turn below 60 hit points. The second thing you need to worry about is poisoning Grogoroth's torso. Doesn't matter who dies getting the poison on there. Leg Sweep instantly defeats 3 of Grogoroth's eyes, which can reduce his damage a bit, but isn't necessary. Murky Vial has a chance to take out the 4 smaller ones. If the main character gets hit by Whispers of Grogoroth, cure him as soon as Grogoroth is poisoned. It doesn't matter if another character dies using the talisman as long as the main character survives. If Whispers doesn't hit the main character, it doesn't matter and don't worry about it. From here, just guard and heal. If you brought 5 heals and heal every turn, you'll win. Your reward for victory is dying. When you're playing on Terror and Starvation or Hard mode, the game activates something called Tough Enemy mode that changes certain enemies and body parts. All of my strategies were written for the normal difficulty, Fear and Hunger. Most of them work on the harder difficulties, but I need to offer some small corrections for a few enemies. Prison Guard arm HP jumps from 20 to 250. If you can't deal 250 damage to their left arm on the first turn, bring the Salmon Snake Soul or Arm Guards. Cave Mother's torso jumps from 375 to 725 HP on the first phase, and from 325 to 625 on the second phase. If you try to defeat her torso in one round, you'll need to bring twice as much damage. Each of his parts except the loincloth jumps from 20 to 300 HP. If you want to kill him with AoEs, you'll need 3 Murky Vials and maybe an Explosive Vial on top of that if you roll low on damage. Make sure you can deal 300 damage in one round to the right arm, or bring the Salmon Snake Soul and a lot of healing. His left arm now has 40% evasion, and both arms jump from 20 to 300 HP. It's no longer worth targeting his arm. His arms and torso have more HP, but this won't affect the strategy. His torso jumps from 1250 to 1750 HP, but status effect damage jumps proportionally. You'll need to deal 350 damage to his torso to kill it after 2 status effects ticks, but no real change. His torso jumps from 560 to 1000 HP. You'll need to deal a lot more damage very quickly to fight him safely. His torso jumps from 575 to 800 HP. This doesn't affect the strategy aside from how much damage you need to deal before he attacks. Cave Dweller Warrior's torso jumps from 350 to 850. This doesn't affect the strategy. All 3 parts of the Black Witch have more HP. The arms jump from 20 to 400. You will either need to use Leg Sweep to destroy both arms, don't ask how that works, or use Marksmanship on the Overworld if you fight him in Mahabra. The innermost circle on his third phase jumps from 3000 to 5000 HP. This doesn't affect the strategy. Valtiel's face jumps from 3500 to 4500, and his brain loads jump from 2500 to 3500. This doesn't affect the strategy. Foreskin Grandmother's arms jump from 270 to 600 HP, and one of her legs turns into a 4th arm. You can no longer use any strategy that focuses on damaging her arms. You need to exclusively focus on her torso. Francois is still a complete joke that explodes if you show him that one smug Megumin image. Moonless Guard's torsos jump from 650 HP to 775. Their arms jump from 20 to 300. This doesn't affect the strategy aside from how much damage you need to deal. He's got the same changes as normal Crow Mauler. His torso jumps from 575 to 725, but this doesn't affect the strategy. Their torsos jump from 780 to 1560, so you almost always need to go for the head. Their arms and stingers jump to 500 HP. Their arms were previously 350, and the stinger was previously 400. Their torso jumps from 575 to 800. Since the previous strategy was never fight them, it's not worth it, the only change to the strategy is that you need to imagine me yelling that at full volume. To recap, the only real changes are, you need a bigger weapon for prison guards, such as Ragnvaldr's starting axe or D'Ars's starting spear. The Old Knight is now actually dangerous. You don't need to bother attacking a Yellow Mage's arm. You need to focus on Foreskin Grandmother's torso. The Black Witch requires leg sweep, marksmanship, or very high damage. And some enemies might take slightly longer to kill. is a ridiculous pile of RNG and impossible to reliably defeat alone. She spawns at the end of the void and only outside of normal difficulty. Her torso has 6,000 hit points and is immune to poison. Her head has 5,000 hit points and 55% physical evasion. She has 2 small tentacles and 2 large tentacles. Each tentacle has a 50% chance of doing nothing. The large tentacles have 2,000 hit points and can attack with Tentacle Slam, which does 40 damage. The small tentacles have 1,500 hit points and can attack with Tentacle Whip, which does 20 damage. Both these attacks ignore evasion, can't miss, and are non-elemental, so they ignore armor. This means that she can simply choose to deal 120 damage to a single person in a single turn because armor cannot help with this. She also grows a tumor that starts off with 5,000 hit points but drops to 2,700 after it transforms into one of the main characters. Each of the main characters has their own set of attacks, but you shouldn't see any of them. To summarize them briefly, Kahara causes critical state, bleeding, and arm infection, or causes arm loss and bleeding. D'Arce causes arm loss and bleeding, or leg loss and bleeding. Enki stuns the whole party with Locust Swarm, or takes an arm with hurting. Ragnvaldr either looses an arrow to cause bleeding, or goes for a coin flip headshot.
All of her parts have 90% resistance to burning and poison, including her torso, which is outright immune to poison. So the only damage over time that's remotely reliable is the purple vial, since that ignores poison resistance, but not poison immunity.
It's still not worth using one in this fight because only her torso can die to damage over time and everything else stops at 1 HP after 10 turns. She also has a unique Entangle mechanic. If she has any tentacles left at the end of the first turn or at the end of every 4th turn afterwards, she'll entangle a random character for 2 turns. While entangled, that character can't do anything. You can destroy all 4 tentacles to free them. At the end of every 4th turn, her head will use Color from the Unknown to deal 25 mind damage to the whole party. She'll also use this every turn after her tentacles are destroyed, so she'll use it twice on certain turns. Despite all this, there's a reliable and consistent way to defeat her. You just need any party member, the spell Pheromones, the spell Locust Swarm, and a ton of mind restoratives like Mwine. Giving the main character the White Angel Soul helps a ton, and I highly recommend it, but it isn't needed. If you don't know where to find your party members in the Void, watch my video on it. If you need to know how to get infinite wine, check out my video on getting infinite supplies. If you need to know where to get those spells, check out my Ultimate Hexen Guide. Turn 1, have the main character cast Pheromones on the party member you like the least and have that character guard if able. Everyone else should attack the torso. On your extra turn, cast Locust Swarm to stun every single part. For the rest of the fight, if you ever start your extra turn and Sylvian isn't stunned, cast Locust Swarm. Heal your mind as needed to keep casting Locust Swarm. Everyone should exclusively focus on attacking the torso. If you keep your rhythm up with Locust Swarm and Alcohol, the only things she will ever do are entangling the one guy you don't like and casting Color from the Unknown every 4 turns. It doesn't matter if the rest of the party goes crazy since this is the end of the game.
The God of Fear and Hunger is the final boss of Route A and the second easiest final boss of the game, second only to Francois. To fight her, you need to bring the little girl to the end of the gauntlet, after which you'll fight her with 1 fewer party member. Despite being so easy, she has 5 phases, making her one of the more complex bosses. Her first phase is the girl. She doesn't do anything and it ends after 1 turn. This is when you set up stuff like Blood Golem or Fast Attack. Don't put damage over time on her here. She clears status effects between phases. I wouldn't recommend using brown or orange vials here either, since she doesn't get threatening until the 4th phase, which is around the time the attack up wears off. Her second phase is this statue. It has 1,200 hit points and either does nothing or uses Body Needles. Body Needles does 25 piercing damage, can't be evaded, can't miss, and has a 90% chance to cause bleed. Her third phase is this Gaping Statue. It also has 1,200 hit points and either uses Body Needles or Double Arm Smash. Double Arm Smash does 35 bludgeoning damage, can't be evaded, and can't miss. Her fourth phase is this Centipedal Human. It has 2,700 HP and either uses Stampede of Arms or Toxic Mist. Stampede of Arms deals 10 bludgeoning damage 4 times for a total of 40 damage, can't miss, and can't be evaded. Toxic Mist does 20 non-elemental damage, causes poisoning, can't be evaded, and has a 10% chance to miss. Her fifth and final phase is this weird statue you may have seen in Termina. It has 6,000 HP, same as Grogorath or Sylvian's torsos, and either casts Purifying Ember, Purifying Black Flames, or uses Self-Mutilation. Self-Mutilation deals 50 damage to the boss and doesn't hurt you in any way. Purifying Ember and Purifying Black Flames both deal fire damage, can't be evaded, can't miss, and cause burning. Ember is the weaker one, dealing 30 fire damage and causing burning 90% of the time. Black Flames deals 50 fire damage and causes burning 98% of the time. This phase is the only enemy in the game with 20 agility, which means she'll get extra turns if at least half your party doesn't also have boosted agility, and that you will never get extra turns. Unless you stack Fast Attack and White Angel Soul, but that's kind of a waste. In her final phase, on the end of the first turn after transforming, and every 4 turns afterwards, she'll use a coin flip attack. This attack is clearly telegraphed by the message, "The newborn god is trembling in pain." If you see that, she's going to use her coin flip attack next turn. Her coin flip attack has 2 effects, Pure Fear and Pure Hunger, that she chooses between randomly. Pure Fear does 80 otherworldly element mind damage. Pure Hunger does 80 otherworldly element regular damage. That's right, neither of these attacks instantly kill you, and one of them might not even hurt you. This boss has an additional gimmick on top of all her phases. If you start the fight while the girl has the dagger and the peculiar doll equipped, not the cursed dagger, specifically the regular uncursed dagger, she'll lose turns after turning into a god. This makes an already easy boss even easier. To succinctly recap the entire video so far, she does low physical damage until her final form, where she starts dealing middling fire damage. On the whole, she's not a particularly difficult fight, and you don't really need to think much about how to handle her. Just like most of the second half of the game, all you have to do is deal damage and heal damage. Things like Fast Attack, Brown and Orange Vials, and any sort of healing help a lot here. But her damage and HP are so low, it's pretty easy for anyone to solo her if they brought a few Light Blue Vials or Loving Whispers. In fact, despite her automatically causing phobia in the entire party, none of her attacks count as physical attacks, so you don't even take increased damage. She's just a wall of HP and low damage that might burn or poison you. There is, however, a specific strategy and setup I highly recommend for this boss. A strategy that relies on something you never thought you'd hear me say. A strategy that I thought I'd never recommend. A strategy that uses Dragonvalder's Bloodlust skill. This is the only time in the game that the skill is useful, and this strategy nearly depends on it. If you can deal 4,000 damage in a single turn to Phase 2 or Phase 3, you can skip the rest of the phases. Equip your hardest hitter, which is either Ragnvalder or Marriage, with the Purified Eastern Sword and the Crow Mauler Soul. Have them buff themselves with Bloodlust and have someone else buff them with a Brown or Orange Vial. If Ragnvalder lands a crit, he'll deal 3,375 damage on average. If Marriage lands a crit, he'll deal 3,726. If the rest of the party works together to deal 600 damage, you can defeat an Ascended God before she even attacks. Because of the stuns from the doll and the dagger, you won't have to worry about Bloodlust getting knocked away from damage. Because there's only one target, Bloodlust will always hit the right enemy. Even if you don't land the crit, this strategy can easily let you blow past phases 2, 3, and 4 and takes out 5 in 2 crits. That's right! I admit it. I was wrong about Ragnvalder. His skills aren't 100% useless. They're only 99% useless. Take this, King. You've earned it.
Hey, Hipster.